Chapter 308. Knowing that Man Gone had returned, Ao Feng, Hua Yan, and Du Zhongjun all had a trace of envy and unwillingness in their hearts. However, these people soon calmed down and turned their attention to Qin Yu. You said that the 3 divine weapons are not on you? Ao Feng asked again. I said they are not on me. If you don't believe me, you can check. Qin Yu said somewhat angrily. Ao Feng nodded and smiled. All right, since you said they are not on me, then I will check. If I find out that you lied to me, I will kill one of your 3 relatives. Ao Feng took out a transmission talisman as he spoke. Who do you want to check through? Qin Yu asked. At that moment, Qin Yu was a little worried. Although he had acted out the scene of him giving Lan Feng all the divine weapons in front of Man Gone and Zhongju, he was still worried that if Ao Feng asked Zhongju and Zhongju did not answer truthfully, then he would be miserable. You don't need to worry about that. I have my own ways of asking. Ao Feng smiled faintly. Qin Yu watched as Ao Feng began to communicate with others through the transmission talisman. He could not help but feel a little nervous. He knew that Zhongju and Ao Feng's relationship could not be considered good. Zhongju would not necessarily tell the truth. Qin Yu's hand, which was hidden behind his back, flipped over and took out a transmission talisman. He prepared to first inform Zhongju. Qin Yu, what are you doing? Hua Yan's voice sounded. Why did you take out a transmission talisman at this time? From beginning to end, Hua Yan's immortal sense had been spread out to carefully observe everything. Qin Yu looked at Hua Yan. At that moment, Hua Yan had a smile that was not a smile. Qin Yu could not help but put away the transmission talisman. Qin Yu, you better be honest. If you inform your martial uncle Lan Feng and that Uncle Lan, we will not hesitate to kill you. Don't blame us for being vicious and merciless. Du Zhongjun said angrily. Yu Liang was also staring at Qin Yu. Du Zhongjun and the others thought that Qin Yu wanted to secretly inform Lan Feng and the others. What were Du Zhongjun and the others most afraid of? They were most afraid of Lan Feng's arrival. They were most afraid of Uncle Lan, who was more powerful than Lan Feng. They were well aware of Lan Feng's strength. Once Lan Feng made his move, the 4 of them would have no hope of surviving. Ao Feng, are you done? Qin Yu urged. Wait a moment. Ao Feng said to Qin Yu with a smile. He then waited quietly. After a while, Ao Feng communicated with Qin Yu through the communication device again. After keeping the communication device, Ao Feng nodded at Qin Yu and said, You are telling the truth. All right, we believe you. Wait a minute. Yu Liang said. Ao Feng, Hua Yan, and Du Zhongjun looked at Yu Liang. Yu Liang said with a self-deprecating smile, I'm a man who knows his own limits. I'm not greedy for the divine artifact. Brother Qin Yu's defensive armor should be a set of top-grade immortal artifact. Brother Ao Feng, do you still remember your words? Ao Feng, Hua Yan, and Du Zhongjun felt uncomfortable in their hearts. The 3 of them took a risk and didn't get anything. This Yu Liang obviously wanted a set of top-grade immortal artifact armor and then left. But since they agreed, they can't go back on their word. Ao Feng and the others looked at Qin Yu. Top-grade immortal artifact armor? Qin Yu sneered at the 4. Do you want my top-grade immortal artifact armor? But you should at least show some sincerity. Otherwise, how can I give it to you? A top-grade immortal artifact armor, to Qin Yu, who had a great harvest in the 9th level of the 9 heavens, was nothing. But, no matter what, he had to gain the upper hand. Sincerity? Simple, we'll let one person go first. That's enough sincerity. Du Zhongjun said with a smile. He waved his hand and removed the seal from Qin Yu's body. At the same time, Du Zhongjun looked at Qin Yu with a smile. Qin Zheng was only a Xiantian. To Du Zhongjun and the others, there was no difference whether they set up the seal or not. It was estimated that Du Zhongjun and the others could kill Qin Zheng with just the qi they emitted. Wait. Qin Yu looked at the 4. I know you want the divine artifact in my martial uncle's hands. You also want to use me to threaten my martial uncle. I promise. to listen to you, but you must let my royal father, big brother and second brother go." Hua Yan immediately said, "No, if you go back on your word, If you are not willing to let my family go, I will be willing to let you be captured. At that time, will you still let my family go?" Humph, Hua Yan, Ao Feng, Du Zhongjun, Yu Liang, the four of you listen to me. Now, there are only two choices. One is to let my family go, and I will be willing to be captured. The other is to fight to the death. A transmission talisman appeared in Qin Yu's hand. "I will count to 3. If you have not made a choice, my sex elders will receive the news. With their greater teleportation, they can arrive here in an instant." At that time, Qin Yu's face was full of frost. "Royal father, big brother, second brother, you won't blame me, right?" Qin Yu looked at Qin De, Qin Zheng and Qin Feng. Qin De's eyes, however, were filled with praise. This is a true descendant of our Qin clan. So what if he dies?" Qin Feng and Qin Zheng also looked at Qin Yu with the same resolute gaze. Then, they sneered at Ao Feng and the other 3. Ao Feng and the others were stunned. Then the 4 of them looked at each other and secretly communicated with each other. Looking at the 4 of them talking, Qin Yu was cursing the Ink Qilin and Shurexien, the 2 divine beasts. These 2 divine beasts were sent by Qin Yu to take care of his family. Normally, the Ink Qilin and Shurexien lived in the palace. But when Ao Feng and the others came, the Ink Qilin and Shurexien felt the powerful aura of Ao Feng and the others, and they were so scared that they hid. "Master, you can't blame us. They are really too strong. If we attacked, we would only be sending ourselves to death. We were prepared to stay behind and inform Master." The Ink Qilin hurriedly sent a message. Shurexien also hurriedly said, "Master, we are not afraid of death, but dying like this is not worth it. These divine beasts can communicate with their master through telepathy. Okay, let's forget about this matter for now." Qin Yu also understood the 2 divine beasts' difficulties. "Have you thought it through? I am going to start counting. 1. Qin Yu's voice sounded. Ao Feng and the others were stunned. 2. Qin Yu's voice became louder, and his eyes showed a trace of seriousness. "Stop, we agree." Hua Yan hurriedly said. Hua Yan and the others also thought it through. Using Qin Yu's family to threaten Qin Yu was still useful, but using them to threaten Lan Feng was useless. So they only needed to control Qin Yu. "Very good, you let my royal father and the others go, and I will be captured." Qin Yu received the transmission talisman. Times seeing Qin Yu being captured by Ao Feng and the others, Qin De and the others were somewhat anxious. "Brother Hua Yan, brother Ao Feng, brother Du, I will take my leave first," Yu Liang said with a smile. At this moment, he had already obtained the top-grade immortal armor. "We won't see you out," Ao Feng said indifferently. Hua Yan and Du Zhongjun only nodded, but their expressions were not good. Yu Liang was not angry, and turned into a blur, flying towards the east. "Qin Yu, don't resist, or we will immediately kill you." Du Zhongjun grabbed Qin Yu with one hand, and a large amount of Blood Devil Path energy completely covered Qin Yu's body. Very clearly, if Qin Yu resisted, he would immediately kill Qin Yu. Mother****, this Qin Yu's cultivation method is really strange. My seal is actually unable to seal his power. Du Zhongjun muttered to the nearby Hua Yan. Hua Yan also nodded and said, "This Qin Yu's body is really strange. Now we can only use the stupidest method to imprison him." Qin Yu sneered in his heart. How could the seal used to seal Yuanying have any effect on the star in his body? The so-called stupidest method that Hua Yan and the others used to imprison Qin Yu was to use a large amount of energy to form a protective shield around Qin Yu's body. This shield not only protected Qin Yu, but also prevented the energy within Qin Yu's body from escaping. "We are still in the Imperial Palace, so I will not kill the 3 of you for now. Once we leave the Imperial Palace, it will be time for the 3 of you to die." Qin Yu's heart was filled with killing intent. But now was not the right time to act. killing 3 level 1 golden immortals. As long as a single strand of energy was released, it would be a huge blow to the Imperial Palace. Brother Ao Feng, are we going to planet Yellowstone now? Hua Yen looked at Ao Feng. Ao Feng nodded and said, Lan Feng and the others are very familiar with this planet. It is safer to go to the nearby planet Yellowstone. There is no one there, and we can safely set up the Great Formation. Once everything is ready, we will invite Lan Feng to come. Qin Yu's heart was startled. Where is planet Yellowstone? Qin Yu asked. Ao Feng laughed. Little brother Qin Yu, you have lived for so long, have you not left this planet? Haha, to tell the truth, there are not many planets in the mortal realm that are larger than your planet. This planet Yellowstone is an uninhabited planet near your planet. Qin Yu had learned a lot about the universe from Lei Wei. He understood that there were many more uninhabited planets than inhabited planets. The planet he lived on was indeed a large one. Your planet is large, but the distance between the stars is much greater. The distance between your planet and planet Yellowstone is much greater. But with the 3 of us helping you, it will be much simpler. Ao Feng laughed lightly. At such a distance, even Lan Feng's immortal sense would not be able to detect us. Of course, if Lan Feng can detect us from so far away, he must have reached the Xian immortal level. Hua Yen said. Don't waste time, let's go. Du Zhongjun shouted. At this time, Qin Yu decided to temporarily stop attacking. After all, once Ao Feng and the others flew out of this planet, they would be at his mercy. And he had never left this planet before. Let's go. Ao Feng took the lead, and Hua Yen and Du Zhongjun brought Qin Yu to the sky. For the first time, Qin Yu directly flew to the highest point of the sky. Qin Feng, Qin Zheng and Qin Da all raised their heads and watched Qin Yu and the others disappear into the highest place in the sky. They remained silent. Father. Qin Zheng called out. Qin Da slowly said, Zheng, from today onwards, every generation of the Qin clan's direct descendants must have 3 people living in the Stellar Pavilion. After a period of time, the other descendants will be allowed to live in the Stellar Pavilion. Even if we die, we must ensure that the Qin clan's bloodline continues. This feeling of being threatened is really unbearable. Yes, Father. Qin Zheng obeyed, while Qin Feng looked at the distant sky. At this time, Qin Yu and the others were no longer in the sky. At this time, Ao Feng, Hua Yen, Du Zhongjun, and Qin Yu's group had already flown to the highest point of the sky. In front of them was endless thunder and lightning, as well as extremely violent gales. You want to stop these thunder and lightning bores? Ao Feng laughed lightly. Ao Feng's body emitted rays of light. The surging energy directly split the thunder and lightning bores into 2 sides. Ao Feng and the others easily passed through the endless thunder and lightning bores, and continued to fly upwards. This flight lasted for almost 6 hours. Gradually, within the range of Qin Yu's eyes was the boundless void. In the distant void, there were many huge stars. The most dazzling one was the star closest to Qin Yu. Qin Yu knew that that was the star that countless people on the planet he was on called the Sun. Brother Qin Yu, this is your first time in the universe. Does it feel good? Ao Feng jokingly said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu happily nodded. At this time, Qin Yu's heart relaxed. They had already left the Qianlong continent and arrived in the outer space. Here, if Qin Yu wanted to kill the 3 people in front of him, it would be as easy as lifting a finger. Moreover, Qin Yu still wanted to go to that Yellowstone star to take a look. If he had to rely on himself to fly, how long would he have to fly? That kind of star that constantly emits endless heat is called a star. This star must not be approached at all costs. The outer flames are already very terrifying. The inner part is the heavenly flame. As for the inner part, it is the blue heavenly flame. As for the core, even an immortal emperor-level expert would not dare to enter. Hua Yen explained to Qin Yu. Qin Yu was shocked. The people of the immortal, devil and demon realm actually called this star the same as the people of the universe that Lei Wei was originally from. There are many dangers in the universe. for example, cosmic meteorites, devouring dark areas, flowing light field. So flying in the universe is very dangerous. Ao Feng also spoke out. Regarding the dangers of the universe, Qin Yu was naturally clear. His true master, Lei Wei, had left him a book that described a lot of knowledge about the universe. Qin Yu's understanding of the universe was very likely more clear than Ao Feng and the others. Ah, so beautiful. Qin Yu turned around and looked at his own planet. Brother Qin Yu, the planet you are on is called the Purple Mystic Star. From the front, your planet is very beautiful, full of boundless water. But from the back, one side is purple, the other side is white. Hua Yan said. Qin Yu nodded. The purple area was the land of extreme peril flame field. The so-called white area was the land of extreme peril flame field. Purple Mystic Star. Qin Yu silently remembered in his heart that this was his home planet. Brother Ao Feng, Brother Du, let us three join hands and use greater teleportation to directly go to Yellowstone Star. Hua Yan said to Ao Feng and Du Zhongjun. They were only level 1 golden immortals and could only use greater teleportation. Even though Yellowstone Star was the closest planet to the Purple Mystic Star, but to bring Qin Yu there. Only if the three of them joined hands would they have a chance. Chapter 309. Greater Teleportation? Qin Yu was very curious about this ability that only golden immortals could use. At this moment, Du Zhongjun, Hua Yan, and Ao Feng formed a triangle with Qin Yu in the center. Waves of energy flowed around the three of them, forming a unique area in the triangle. Suddenly, Qin Yu felt his entire body tremble, a strange feeling welled up in his heart. It was as if he had merged with heaven and earth, but after a moment, that feeling disappeared. We're here. Ao Feng's voice sounded. At this moment, Qin Yu discovered that the scenery around him was completely different. Just a moment ago, he was beside his home planet, the mysterious purple planet, but now he was above a yellow planet. Looking to the right of Yellowstone, there was a huge planet, the mysterious purple planet. Looking at Yellowstone from the mysterious purple planet, Yellowstone is only the size of a fist. But looking at the mysterious purple planet from Yellowstone, it feels like it's right in front of my eyes. Qin Yu couldn't help but exclaim. With his eyes, it felt like he was only 100 steps away from the mysterious purple planet. The mysterious purple planet was simply too big. Brother Qin Yu, in the universe, two planets may not look far apart, but if you want to fly from one to another, you will realize that the two planets are very far apart. And there is a very strange thing in the universe. If you use your eyes to look, the planet is in that direction, but when you use teleportation to get closer, you will realize that the direction you found at the beginning is wrong. Hua Yan told him this knowledge. Qin Yu laughed in his heart. Of course he knows this principle. According to Master Lei Wei's introduction, it is the principle of light refraction. It is because there are some things in the cosmic space. Actually, Qin Yu does not know too much about it, but he knows a bit about it. The mysterious purple planet is 10 billion miles long, but Yellowstone is only 100 million miles long. The difference is 1,000,000 times. Du Zhongjun sighed. Mysterious purple planet is so big, but it is really rare. Ao Feng, Du Zhongjun, and Hua Yan looked in the direction of the mysterious purple planet. Looking at the huge planet, they couldn't help but sigh in admiration. As far as the eye could see, nearly 30% of it was occupied by the Purple Mystic Star. One could imagine just how big the Purple Mystic Star was. Brother Du, Brother Hua Yan, let's go to planet Yellowstone and start arranging the spirit array. Once the spirit array is completed, it will be time to invite Lan Feng. Ao Feng says with a smile. Du Zhongjun and Hua Yan nodded as they thought of Lan Feng's treasures. Immediately, they took Qin Yu and flew towards Yellowstone. Planet Yellowstone was very strange. Most of the planet's composition was made up of rocks. This caused the density of planet Yellowstone to be very high. At the same time, the gravity was also ridiculously high. Yellowstone's gravity was about 20 times that of the Purple Mystic Star. 20 times the gravity would instantly shatter a mortal's bones and internal organs, killing them on the spot. However, were Qin Yu and the others ordinary people? 20 times the gravity did not affect them at all. Standing on the ground of Yellowstone, Qin Yu looked up at the sky. Yellowstone's sky was not as obstructive as the purple mystic star. Therefore, from the surface of Yellowstone, one could clearly see the boundless starry sky and beautiful planets. Hey, you guys let me stay here and even removed the energy seal on my body. Aren't you worried that I'll escape? Qin Yu says to Ao Feng and the other two who were concentrating on arranging the spirit array. The spirit array that Ao Feng and the others were arranging was an enormous maze. Even if they were very familiar with it, it would still take them 10 days to half a month to complete it. Hearing Qin Yu's words, Ao Feng looks at Qin Yu and smiles. If you have the ability, then run. You don't even know how to teleport. If you want to fly to the purple mystic star, who knows how long it will take? Qin Yu smiles and does not say anything more. In the past few days, Ao Feng, Du Zhongjun, and Huayan's attitude towards him was very good. Usually, they would talk and laugh with each other. They even removed the energy seal on Qin Yu's body. But Qin Yu understood. These people were so friendly towards him because they hoped that he could cooperate and trick Lan Feng into coming here. Qin Yu does not think too much about it. Instead, he carefully appreciates the scenery of Yellowstone. Yellowstone's surface is made of yellow rocks. Looking up, one can see countless planets and even stars. The nearest star is smaller than the purple mystic star. In the distant cosmic space, Qin Yu also saw several tens of stars and numerous planets. Those planets were likely all uninhabited planets. After all, in the universe, the number of inhabited planets is relatively small. The days passed peacefully for a total of 13 days. On the surface of Yellowstone, there are 4 stone houses. These houses belong to Qin Yu and the other 3. At this moment, Qin Yu, Ao Feng and Huayan are standing beside the stone house. Du Zhongjun is a few thousand meters away. Brother Du, can you see us? Ao Feng asks in a clear voice. I can see. Du Zhongjun replies. At this moment, everyone is testing the effects of this so-called illusion array from the Demon Realm's Dragon Clan. Think of a way to come here and see if you can succeed. Ao Feng says again. Okay, I'll start now. After Du Zhongjun finished speaking, he immediately began to move forward. Ao Feng, Huayan and even Qin Yu were all carefully watching Du Zhongjun, to see if Du Zhongjun could enter. Ao Feng's face shows a trace of confidence. This array has a radius of about 6 miles. Du Zhongjun is about to enter the array. Yes, he entered. Qin Yu and Huayan carefully watched Du Zhongjun's reaction. When Du Zhongjun steps into the array, his entire body stops. Brother Ao Feng, I can't see your stone houses anymore. All I see is a grassland. Ao Feng nods. It's fine. This array only has the effect of trapping people. It doesn't have the effect of harming people. You can try to move forward. Ao Feng says loudly. This illusion array is only a part of the Dragon Clan's super array. That super array is divided into the outer bewildering array, the inner bewildering array, and the inner bewildering array. The bewildering array only has the effect of mesmerizing people. Qin, you can clearly see that Du Zhongjun is always walking in a circle within 10 steps of the array. No matter how hard he tries, he can't walk out of that circle. Qin Yu closes his eyes and uses his spiritual sense to sense the array in front of him. Once he closes his eyes, Qin Yu can feel that there is a chaotic area in front of him. The entire space is distorted everywhere. What a powerful, bewildering array. Qin Yu is shocked. He understands that even space is affected to this extent. Wanting to enter is indeed very difficult. Brother Du, close your eyes. I will go and welcome you out. Ao Feng says loudly. Du Zhongjun immediately closes his eyes. He sees Ao Feng's figure flashing, walking leisurely in the array. Only Ao Feng's steps are very strange. He takes hundreds of steps before he gets close to the center of the array. This kind of continuous walking, it takes him a while to reach Du Zhongjun's position. Holding Du Zhongjun's hand, Ao Feng once again keeps walking. He keeps walking with strange steps. After a long time, he finally returns to the stone house. "Well, Brother Du, you have successfully come out," Ao Feng says with a smile. When Du Zhongjun comes out, he looks at Ao Feng in shock. He exclaims, "Brother Ao Feng, the power of this bewildering array is simply beyond imagination. I didn't even walk out of the first maze." Ao Feng says confidently, "This bewildering array is only a part of the array that I studied. The complete array is the secret array of my dragon clan. If the complete array is set up, even an immortal emperor cannot break in. Although this bewildering array is only a part, it can still hinder an ordinary immortal emperor for a day or two. As for Lan Feng, I estimate that it can hold him back for 10 days to half a month." "Admirable, admirable," Hua Yan also exclaims. "Hearing is false. Seeing is believing. The Dragon Clan's position in the immortal, devil and demon realm is quite unique. If the immortal and devil realms were to unite, their strength would definitely surpass the Dragon Clan. But the immortal and devil realms have so many powers. How could they unite? However, the Dragon Clan is very united. The entire Dragon Clan listens to the Dragon Emperor's command. The united Dragon Clan is inviolable in the entire immortal, devil and demon realm. No one dares to provoke the Dragon Clan. Because of this, many of the Dragon Clan secrets are unknown to the outside world. Brother Qin Yu, can you send a message to your martial uncle Lan Feng? You should remember what we said at that time. We have kept our promise and released your family." Ao Feng looks at Qin Yu. Once the array is complete, it is time for Lan Feng to come. Once they obtain the divine tool from Lan Feng, the 3 great emissaries will directly return to the immortal, devil and demon realm. Hua Yan and Du Zhongjun also look at Qin Yu. Qin Yu indifferently smiles. "You have all treated me well these past few days, how could I go back on my words?" As he speaks, Qin Yu takes out a transmission talisman. Ao Feng and the other two's eyes suddenly brighten. They know that Qin Yu is sending a transmission to Lan Feng. From Yellowstone to the mysterious purple star, is the transmission talisman effective? Du Zhongjun suddenly whispers to Ao Feng. The transmission talisman actually has a limit on the distance it can transmit. In the immortal, devil and demon realm, experts who are extremely far away usually use a higher grade item than a transmission talisman to transmit messages. As for the transmission talisman, it is only circulated among ordinary Xiaxianists. No problem, Yellowstone and the mysterious purple star are quite close. Moreover, I have already tried to communicate with Feng Tian, it is working. Ao Feng nods and affirms. Hearing that Ao Feng has already tried to communicate with Feng Tian, Du Zhongjun is relieved. "Well, I have already informed my martial uncle, and told him everything. It seems that my martial uncle is somewhat angry." Qin Yu bitterly smiles at Ao Feng and the other two. "You told him? Very good." Ao Feng suddenly kicks Qin Yu in the stomach, sending Qin Yu flying. Ao Feng's face is full of indifference. "Hua Yan, help me restrain this little brat. We have been so polite to him these past few days, he has forgotten who he is. He really thinks that he can call us brothers." That kick did not cause much damage to Qin Yu. "You guys are really realistic." Qin Yu laughs self-deprecatingly. "At first you were worried that I would not cooperate or inform my martial uncle, so you were so polite to me. But now you are kicking me far away." Qin Yu's smile is very strange. "It seems that you are not an idiot." Du Zhongjun chuckles. "Now that Lan Feng is here, what do we need you for?" Qin Yu says, "There is one thing that I am very curious about. This maze is so powerful, is it really impossible to break it?" Ao Feng sneers. "Little brat, do you want to break the maze and help your martial uncle? Telling you is not a problem. Breaking the maze from the outside can only rely on brute force. Breaking it from the inside is easier, you can just use brute force to break each formation base." "But every formation base has a restriction placed by me. If your power does not surpass mine, don't even think about breaking it.
Oh.
Qin Yu understands. Qin Yu, don't you think that you are very noisy? Go back to your stone house. Du Zhongjun suddenly shouts. These days they have been sullen to death, and now they are venting their anger on Qin Yu. Okay, I will leave. Qin Yu smiles brightly, as if he is taking a stroll towards his stone house. Brother Ao Feng, Lan Feng has 3 treasures in his hands. With Qin Yu's position in Lan Feng's heart, what treasures can we get? Du Zhongjun starts to ask. However, just as Qin Yu steps into the stone house, Ao Feng, Du Zhongjun, Hua Yan, quickly release my martial nephew. Otherwise, all of you will die. A cold voice continuously reverberated within the space of several thousand li. It is Lan Feng. Ao Feng and the others immediately stand up, carefully looking around the maze. They want to know which direction Lan Feng came from. This Lan Feng is very fast. Hua Yan whispers. Ao Feng also nods. This Lan Feng's strength far surpasses ours. I estimate that he directly used greater teleportation to arrive at Yellowstone, but we don't know where he is now. Hua Yan, Ao Feng, and Du Zhongjun look around, trying to find Lan Feng's figure. Don't look, I am here. Ao Feng and the others are scared out of their wits. Lan Feng's voice actually came from behind them. The 3 of them turn around like lightning, just in time to see Lan Feng and Qin Yu come out of the stone house. How is this possible? Ao Feng and the others are stunned. They can't understand how Lan Feng came out of the stone house. Qin Yu walks in front of Lan Feng, staring at the 3. What? You don't understand? Qin Yu smiles. Lan Feng is not the only one in that stone house. There are others. Qin Yu's voice has just faded, when a beautiful woman in white comes out of the stone house. This beautiful woman in white is the leader of the first layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts, Hua Yan. As she comes out of the stone house, one after another, level 9 sky demon spirit beasts come out. Ao Feng, Hua Yan, and Du Zhongjun are stupefied at all this. Level 9 sky demons are only slightly weaker than them, but now, there are more than 100 level 9 sky demons coming out of the stone house. The densely packed level 9 sky demons are occupying every corner of the room. With so many level 9 sky demons, they can easily kill them. The densely packed level 9 sky demons, the green light that stared at them, and the terrifying and grave Lan Feng in the lead, made the 3 pitiful level 1 golden immortals, Hua Yan and his 2 companions' hearts tremble. Chapter 310. What's going on with that stone house? Ao Feng and the other 2 were shocked. Their minds were in a mess. In their eyes, the stone house was like a passage to hell, and one after another, 9th-level demons came out from it. Even though Ao Feng and the other 2 couldn't figure it out, they knew that the situation was hopeless. Ao Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. He glared at Lan Feng and said angrily, Lan Feng, your strength far surpasses ours. If you want to kill us, then kill us. But at this time, why are you still threatening us with the spirit beasts of the Atlas? With your strength, you should be able to open the 2nd layer of the Atlas. Instead of sending out Demon King level spirit beasts, you sent out 9th level spirit beasts. Are you trying to humiliate us? When Ao Feng and the others were in Ni Yang's realm, they only saw Lan Feng snatching the Atlas. At this moment, they still thought that these spirit beasts were released by Lan Feng. Qin Yu smiled indifferently. Pitiful. Qin Yu's long sigh resounded through the entire area. Even when they die, they don't know who killed them. Isn't this pitiful? Qin Yu, what are you so arrogant for? Relying on your martial uncle Feng, you still dare to be so arrogant. Du Zhongjun shouted. At this time, Du Zhongjun and the other 2 already knew that they were going to die, so they naturally became hysterical. Qin Yu smiled. Until now, you still don't know. Qin Yu sighed, but at this time, I can't let you live. Before you die, I will give you a hint. If you understand, then you understand. If you don't, then die in confusion. Hint. Ao Feng and the other 2 were startled. Greetings, Master. Shuo Yen and the other 9th-level demons bowed respectfully, their voices resounding through the sky. This large group of demons respectfully bowed in the direction of Qin Yu. Obviously, this master was Qin Yu. Master. Ao Feng and the other two stared blankly at Qin Yu. It was as if their brains were struck by lightning. AI, pitiful people, until now you still don't understand? Qin Yu lightly smiled. Lan Feng, you can start now. Remember to leave behind their yuanying. I'm going to use their yuanying for my cultivation. At this moment, Ao Feng and the other two who had just woken up saw a martial nephew speaking to a martial uncle in a commanding tone. Ao Feng and the other two instantly became confused. Lan Feng nodded, and 3 extremely condensed sword chi suddenly appeared. Ah! Ao Feng and the other two were startled awake, but how could they dodge the attack of a level 9 golden immortal? Swish! That sound rang out almost at the same time, followed by the sound of people falling to the ground. 3 strands of sword chi suddenly appeared, and Ao Feng, Du Zhongjun, and Hua Yen fell to the ground with their eyes wide open. Just a moment ago, the 3 people's souls had already been pierced through. Lan Feng's speed was so fast that Ao Feng and the other two had no time to dodge. 3 level 1 golden immortal yuanying. With a wave of his hand, Qin Yu caught the 3 yuanying. These 3 yuanying had the appearance of Du Zhongjun, Hua Yen, and Ao Feng, but they no longer had the slightest bit of intelligence. Obviously, their souls had already dissipated. You brought me to Yellowstone Star, and let me experience the vastness of the universe. I also let you live for half a month, which can be considered as not letting you down. When you treated my family like that, you were already sentenced to death. With a faint smile, he casually threw the 3 yuanying directly into the blazing profound ring. Ah, in the entire Yellowstone Star, I am the only one left. Qin Yu looked in all directions, at the vast expanse of Yellowstone. He then raised his head to look at the boundless universe, at the enormous celestial bodies that made one's heart uncontrollably expand. This maze formation is well constructed. Qin Yu carefully looked at the enormous maze formation. He was not in a hurry to break this maze formation. This maze formation had many foundations, and breaking it from the inside was much easier, especially when he had the sword immortal puppet. With the strength of a level 9 golden immortal, he could easily break it, but he could not afford to play the trick of breaking it. This was because the sword immortal puppet in his hands required the supply of top-grade elemental spirit stones. Therefore, he could only use the simplest method to break the foundations one by one. However, I am not in a hurry to break this maze formation. My stellar transformations technique has already reached the star stage, and in the future, I will need to comprehend it on my own in order to break through and ascend to the immortal, devil, and demon realm. Unfortunately, without any prior experience, I can only go into seclusion and bitterly train. Qin Yu's heart moved, and the sword immortal puppet directly merged into his body. I will bitterly train on Yellowstone Star. Yellowstone Star's sky is empty, and when I raise my head, I can see countless celestial bodies, which is also very beneficial to my mental state. Moreover, with the protection of the maze formation around me, I can rest assured. Qin Yu immediately sat cross-legged beside the stone house. Shuo Yen, listen to my orders. Qin Yu's indifferent voice sounded. Shuo Yen immediately bowed. I will be wholeheartedly training in seclusion. Choose 3 people to be my protectors. Ordinary dangers will not be able to enter the maze formation, but if there is any danger that even the maze formation cannot block, you must wake me up. Qin Yu ordered. Yes. Shuo Yen immediately ordered the 3 people, and the other spirit beasts bowed and returned to the Atlas one by one. The Atlas of 10,000 beasts was like a home to these spirit beasts, so they did not need Qin Yu's help to enter the Atlas. 2 men and 2 women, a total of 4 protectors sat around Qin Yu and began to quietly guard him. They also understood that with the protection of the maze formation, their task was very easy. If there was any danger that could break through the maze formation, with their strength, they would not be able to block it. They were only there to serve as a warning. Li Er, Xiao He, Fei. In Qin Yu's mind, the images of these three people appeared one after another. Li Er's smile with slight dimples, Xiao Hei's cold on the outside but warm on the inside, and the laughing Ho Fei. With a flip of his hand, Qin Yu takes out a transmitter. This time, he wants to inform his father's relatives so that they will not be worried. Father, I'm safe now. But now I'm going to do closed-door training. I don't know how long I'll have to wait for this closed-door training. You don't have to worry. In the distant mysterious purple star, Qin De had been worried about Qin Yu ever since Qin Yu was captured. Now that he received a message from Qin Yu, he was naturally overjoyed. Good. Qin De was completely relieved. Go train in seclusion, don't worry about me. Now that I know you are safe, I am relieved. Qin Yu continued to send messages to his family. Finally, when the message was over, Qin Yu put away the communication token and began to train in seclusion. Qin Yu closed his eyes, his whole mind was completely relaxed, and began to merge with the heaven and earth. Following the pulse of the heaven and earth, Qin Yu sat down quietly. Forgetting time, forgetting place, forgetting the past, forgetting the future, forgetting oneself. His mind was empty, and he entered into a mysterious state. Once a practitioner enters this mysterious state, they may wake up in an instant. It may take 3 to 5 months to wake up. It may take 10 years, 100 years, or even 10,000 years or 100,000 years. It was very hard to say. As time passed, Qin Yu's body began to be covered with a layer of dust. That was the dust from the broken stones. Gradually, Qin Yu's whole body was covered with dust. Xue Yan and the other guardians did not help Qin Yu remove the dust. This was because Xue Yan and the others understood that in this state of seclusion, it was taboo to be interrupted. Qin Yu's body was covered with more and more dust, until he looked like a stone sculpture. On the purple mystic planet, which was not far from Yellowstone, there were countless self-cultivators fighting for power, territory, or even a precious ore. They were willing to go on a killing spree. No one knew that on a planet beside the purple mystic planet, there was a person quietly training. Inside the purple mystic planet, Qianlong continent, Qin dynasty's misty villa. 10 years, Yuer has been training in seclusion for 10 years. I don't know when he will come back. Qin De looked up at the sky, and after a long time, he could not help but sigh. In these 10 years, the entire Qianlong continent was also in turmoil. The Ming dynasty, one of the 3 great dynasties of the Qianlong continent, had fallen into a precarious situation due to the sudden death of the previous emperor and the incompetence of the new emperor. Not only was the Ming dynasty under attack from the Qin dynasty, but the new emperor was also greedy and lustful. The whole Ming dynasty even had rebels. The Qin dynasty, on the other hand, was at its peak. The Ming dynasty's destruction was only a matter of a few years. The Han dynasty, on the other hand, had always been in a state of moderation. The new emperor, Emperor Wu of Han, was extremely wise. The Han dynasty's strength was also gradually increasing, and it posed a great threat to the Qin dynasty. Misty Villa, Qin De's courtyard. A person walked in. It was Qin Feng. Father. Seeing his father's expression, Qin Feng cannot help feeling sad in his heart. Ever since his third brother left, every year at this time, Qin De would miss Qin Yu in this room where Qin Yu used to live. Oh, it's Feng, Qin De smiled at Qin Feng. Father, little you already said that he is training in seclusion. You don't have to worry too much, Qin Feng said. I'm not worried, I just miss him a little. Qin De shook his head. At this time, there was a vibration in the air, and 2 people appeared in the courtyard. These 2 people were Zhongju and Yu Liang. Zhongju was about to ascend. Before he ascended, he was going to say goodbye to Qin Yu. However, when he sent a message to Qin Yu was in seclusion and didn't respond. So Zhongju went to find Qin De and learned about what happened in the past. After knowing the faces of the 4 people, Zhongju guessed their identities. Zhongju had no way to deal with Ao Feng and the other 2. He also couldn't find where they were, but dealing with Yu Liang was very easy. Zhongju directly went to the wilderness and captured Yu Liang. Facing Zhongju, Yu Liang had no power to fight back. Qin De, Senior Lan has done me a great favor. I have no way to repay him. The day after tomorrow, I will ascend to the immortal, devil and demon realm. You can do whatever you want with Yu Liang. Zhongju pushed Yu Liang in front of Qin De. Qin De and Qin Feng were stunned. The two of you, I was wrong that day. I will return the top-grade immortal weapon to the two of you. I hope the two of you can forgive me. Yu Liang's heart was full of anger. To a Yuanying and Jin Dan stage small fry begging for mercy, as the ruler of the wilderness, how could he not be angry? But there was no other way, he could only endure. Humph, I'll endure it now. This Zhongju is about to ascend. When he ascends, I will definitely uproot today's shame. Yu Liang said in his heart. Although Qin De's skill is not very good, but his ability to read people is very high. Just by looking at Yu Liang's eyes, he knew what Yu Liang was thinking. Zhongju is about to ascend. When he does, this Yu Liang only needs to think a little and it will be a disaster for us. Qin De immediately said, Senior Zhong, this person, kill him. Yu Liang's face changed. Kill. Zhongju's eyes lit up, then he smiled and said, Good, good. To be honest, that Qin Yu is not as ruthless as you, his father. While speaking, Zhongju stabbed Yu Liang in the stomach. Seeing Yu Liang die, Qin De only smiled faintly. In the past, he led millions of troops and became the emperor of the Qin dynasty. What kind of ripples would there be in killing a person? Yu Liang's soul was shattered and he died on the spot. A dignified ruler of the wilderness, but because of his greed, he ended up in such a state. On the path of cultivation, there is always a higher mountain. Who knows when your soul will scatter? Feng, this is also the reason why I don't want you to enter the cultivation world. Qin De said to Qin Feng. I understand. Qin Feng nodded. Zhongju looked at Qin De and his eyes lit up. You see it clearly, you see it clearly. But Qin De, you can still live a peaceful life in the Qianlong continent, but in the immortal, devil and demon realm, where fish and dragons mix together, it will be impossible for you to live a peaceful life. To be able to live a peaceful life for 1,000 years, I am already very satisfied. One should be content with what one has. As for ascending to the immortal, devil and demon realm, who knows when that will happen? Qin De said with a faint smile. Zhongju nodded. Qin De, I hope to see you in the immortal, devil and demon realm in the future. After saying that, Zhongju disappeared. Yu Liang's death was just an interlude. On the mysterious purple star, the number of self-cultivators is in the hundreds of millions. Every year, countless self-cultivators die. Maybe some extraordinary person will die in some corner. Time flowed like water, and in the blink of an eye, 100 years passed. On the Qianlong continent, the Ming dynasty was finally destroyed. However, the Qin dynasty only obtained half of the Ming dynasty's territory. The other half was unexpectedly seized by a new country called Zhou. The Zhou dynasty and Han dynasty joined forces to resist the Qin dynasty. For a time, the Qianlong continent was in a new balance. The current emperor of the Qin dynasty is Qin Zheng's grandson. On the mysterious purple star, the Qianlong continent was like a surging storm. On the Yellowstone star, it was still quiet. In the huge maze, Qin Yu was still sitting cross-legged. The four protectors were also quietly guarding him. No one knew how long Qin Yu would have to wait before coming out of seclusion. On this day, Qi, the temperature of the Yellowstone star began to rise. In just 3 days, the low temperature had soared to more than 100 degrees. The entire surface of the Yellowstone star was boiling hot. The four protectors were no longer calm. Only Qin Yu was still sitting. The high temperature had no effect on him. Chapter 3:11. Back on Yellowstone, Shuoyan and the other three stood up and surrounded Qin Yu to protect him. Madame Shuoyan, For the temperature to change so much, it must be because of the star. The star must have reached the stage of destruction. One of the 4 protectors, a tall and thin man, spoke up. Shuo Yan and the others looked towards the distant northern horizon. I remember when Master was in seclusion, the size of the star wasn't that big. But now that it has grown so much, it must have entered the stage of destruction. Shuo Yan nodded. A star's age is almost infinite, but it's only almost. If it continues to burn like this, one day it will be destroyed. But now it's erupting with heat that's thousands of times stronger than before. It's a sign of destruction. This also caused the temperature of Yellowstone to continue to rise. As for the purple mystic star, because of the protection of the purple mystic star, the cultivators inside were not affected in the slightest. Now it's not the final eruption stage. When it does, the heat will increase by 100 times. At that time, the surrounding space will be shaken. Madam Shuyen, should we remind Master that if he continues his seclusion, when the time comes, he will be affected? Another of the 4 protectors, a woman in a green dress, spoke up. Shuyen pondered for a moment and shook her head. For the time being there is no need. The star is quite far from Yellowstone. Even if the space is shaken, the impact will be very slight. Also, we have a maze formation around us, which has the ability to affect space itself. Presumably, it won't affect Master. If we wake Master up now, it may cause Master's hard work to go to waste. Listen, from now on, we must focus all our attention. That star is so far away from Yellowstone, yet it's still able to erupt with such terrifying heat. It's obvious that it's a very large star. Once it's destroyed, it's likely that it'll form an area of destruction. The surrounding space will also be affected. We must be careful. Shuo Yan ordered. Yes, Madam. The other 3 people respectfully replied. Immediately, the 4 protectors focused their attention and quietly stood guard. The heat emitted by the star was getting stronger and stronger, and the temperature of Yellowstone was rising. But Qin Yu was still quietly cultivating. During the period of cultivation, Lu Xing's tears constantly nourished Qin Yu's soul. At the same time, the life force slowly seeped into Qin Yu's body. After over 100 years of nourishment, Qin Yu's soul was already very strong. His body had also reached a new level. However, his dantian was still a blazing star. What he lacked now was a leap forward, a breakthrough leap. However, Qin Yu was not in a hurry at all. This feeling of merging with heaven and earth was very comfortable, as if a baby had returned to his mother's embrace. Time passed. It was unknown how many years had passed. Be careful, the star is preparing for its final eruption. Shuo Yan shouted, and the other 3 protectors nodded. His attention was focused on the huge star that had reached the stage of destruction. They saw, the area covered by the flames on the already huge star increased once again. It looked like the size of the entire star had increased by thousands of times. Since there was no special energy protecting planet Yellowstone's periphery, the temperature of planet Yellowstone instantly rose to an extremely shocking level. It rapidly expanded to the limit, but in an instant, at a terrifying speed, the star suddenly shrank. This rapid expansion and shrinkage caused the entire space to tremble. When the tremors reached planet Yellowstone, they were very slight. Logically speaking, they should not have affected Qin Yu. However, Qin Yu, who had merged with heaven and earth, was very sensitive to these spatial tremors. Wang, Qin Yu's body trembled, and the countless dust particles scattered, revealing Qin Yu, who was sitting cross-legged. Qin Yu's eyes that had been closed for over 100 years suddenly opened. 2 astonishing rays of light shot into the sky. Those were Qin Yu's eyes. When Qin Yu opened his eyes, he immediately saw the scene of the star rapidly shrinking. The star shrank rapidly. From its original dazzling state, its volume had shrunk countless times, and then it disappeared. The entire star had unexpectedly disappeared, and immediately after, a terrifying suction force appeared in space. When this force reached planet Yellowstone, it was naturally very slight. This suction force persisted for a long time, causing the entire universe to undergo a slight change. Every moment, there would be some changes in the universe, and these changes would lead to the evolution of the universe. This star is really big. In the end, it should have formed the devouring destruction zone, and not the dark star. Shuo Yen said with a smile. If Qin Yu heard this, he would naturally understand. This so-called devouring destruction zone should be a black hole, and the dark star should be similar to a white dwarf with a terrifying gravitational force. Why is it so hot? The four protectors felt the surrounding speed increase again, and the temperature was even more terrifying than before. My lord, look at master, he. The green-clothed woman of the four protectors looked at Qin Yu in shock. Shuo Yen and the others also looked at Qin Yu. At this moment, Qin Yu's body was surrounded by blazing flames, and Qin Yu was like a god of fire. Star, collapse, black hole, destroyed and then rebuilt, Qin Yu muttered. Suddenly, ha, I understand. Qin Yu's whole body was covered in purple flames, and the flames expanded in all directions. Shuo Yen and the others saw the heavenly flames and immediately tried to resist. A level 1 demon might not be able to withstand the heavenly flames, but Shuo Yen and the others were elites among level 9 demons. As long as they were careful, they could withstand it. My lord, what's going on? Shuo Yen and the others did not understand. After 100 years of bitter cultivation, Qin Yu's hair was very long. At this moment, his long hair was dancing in the wind, and the purple flames were burning in 100-meter radius. Qin Yu's whole body was floating in the air, like a god of fire. After a moment, Qin Yu's face slightly changed. The energy seems to be insufficient. A Yuanying suddenly appeared in Qin Yu's hand. It was the Yuanying of a 9th Tribulation loose devil that Qin Yu had killed when he burned down the Inue Mountains. The Yuanying of that 9th Tribulation loose devil turned into a powerful liquid energy in front of Qin Yu. Show! Qin Yu opens his mouth and swallows like a whale. The energy of a 9th Tribulation loose devil's Yuanying is unexpectedly sucked directly into his body in a breath's time. In just a short while, boom! The purple flames suddenly expanded, and in a flash, the range of the purple flames expanded rapidly. From the initial 100-meter radius, it expanded to tens of thousands of meters, simply to a terrifying extent. Shrink! Suddenly shrink! That purple flame, which has swelled to its limit, immediately converges into Qin Yu's body. Within the range of this bewildering formation, a layer of the yellow stones has been burnt to a depth of more than 10 meters. That stone house has also been burnt to the ground. Fortunately, the 4 level 9 demons had profound skills, and were able to hold on. Qin Yu stood in the air, his long hair fluttering in the wind, motionless. The 4 law protectors looked at Qin Yu in amazement. What's the matter with master? The green-clad woman asked. The others all shook their heads. In their hearts, they were all wondering what had happened to Qin Yu at the moment. Just now, Qin Yu's energy outburst gave them a fright, but now Qin Yu is still, making them even more perturbed. Times, destruction is followed by re-establishment. The final path is for a star to collapse and form a black hole. But to collapse and form a black hole, it really needs too much energy. Qin Yu could not help sighing inwardly when he sees the situation in his dantian. The moment he opened his eyes and saw the star collapse, Qin Yu had an epiphany. After more than 100 years of quiet practice, he was enlightened at this moment. Currently, within Qin Yu's dantian was an extremely small dark red-colored bead. That dark red-colored bead was over 10 million times smaller than the original star within his dantian. However, the energy within this dark red-colored bead was over 10,000 times purer. To form a black hole after a star collapses, it really needs too much energy. There is already a lot of star energy in my dantian. In the end, I also added the Yuanying of a 9th Tribulation loose devil, but it only formed a dark star. It's still very far from a black hole. But this time, when the star collapsed, I lost at least 50% of my energy, but my attack power increased by 100 times. Qin Yu understood. The moment the star collapsed, it emitted too much energy. However, the remaining energy, which was less than 50%, was condensed thousands of times. In the end, it formed a dark star. The energy was extremely pure, and its attack power was extremely shocking. Qin Yu felt very relaxed. Because he has already created the 7th stage of the stellar transformations, dark cycle. The 6th stage of the stellar stage, the energy is blazing and violent. The 7th stage, dark cycle, is the collapse of the stellar stage, and its volume is reduced by 10 million times. If the energy of the stellar stage is like a piece of scrap iron, then the energy of the dark cycle is a piece of scrap iron that has been refined until all its impurities are compressed by 10 million times, forming a sharp needle. If I'm not wrong, then the next stage is to collapse the dark star again to form a black hole. But the energy required to form a black hole is too much. And with such a terrifying amount of energy, my soul power is unable to control it. Qin Yu understood very well. His soul power is now very deep. Before entering Ni Yang's realm, he had already entered the celestial immortal realm. And after training for more than 100 years, Qin Yu's soul power is equivalent to that of a level 7 celestial immortal realm. But with so many celestial immortals, when controlling so much energy collapse, he nearly lost control. Black hole stage. Perhaps I can only try it when my soul reaches the golden immortal realm. Qin Yu understood very well. The collapse of a star, in theory, is simple, but in practice, it is very complicated. Qin Yu had suddenly gained some insight when he opened his eyes and saw that scene. This insight, in fact, was not unrelated to the 100 years of training. Qin Yu opened his eyes and saw the worried faces of the 4 great protectors. Qin Yu calculated in his heart. Haha, I didn't expect that I, Qin Yu, have been fighting all the way on mysterious purple star, and have not reached the stellar stage for more than 100 years. This time, I have spent more than 150 years in seclusion. Interesting. Qin Yu could not help but sigh. In these 150 years, Qin Yu's soul power was able to reach the level of a level 7 celestial immortal. First, Qin Yu's fusion with the heaven and earth, but the most important factor was the nourishment of Lu Xing's tears. Congratulations, Master. Shuo Yan and the other 3 immediately bowed. All of you, get up. This time, I was able to achieve a breakthrough because of your protection. Qin Yu was very happy. To be able to achieve the final breakthrough, he was naturally overjoyed. Stellar transformations began with the Dark Week, and every subsequent stage would be created by Qin Yu. My lord, in the past, your body had a faint energy, we could feel it. How come you don't have a trace of energy now? Shuo Yan was surprised. She was a level 9 celestial demon, but she could not feel Qin Yu's energy. This is because of my cultivation method. Qin Yu said indifferently. Qin Yu understood that this was the reason for reaching the Dark Week stage. Dark Star, it was not only because the energy was completely condensed into a very small dark red sphere, but also because of another reason, a devouring force. This dark star was similar to the so-called white dwarf or neutron star in his master's universe. The devouring force was very amazing. Qin Yu's heart was moved. The surrounding energy of heaven and earth was like a whirlwind, constantly converging into Qin Yu's body, and was directly sucked into the small dark red sphere. No matter how much energy was absorbed, the dark red sphere did not change at all. It seemed that the energy of this dark star was too pure. And at this time, Qin Yu's mind trembled. An inexplicable message suddenly rushed into his mind. He would ascend to the immortal, devil and demon realm in 3 months. Ascend to the immortal, devil and demon realm? Qin Yu was happy. He had trained bitterly for so many years. Wasn't it all for the sake of ascending to the immortal, devil and demon realm? Only by ascending to the immortal, devil and demon realm would he be able to see Ho Fei, Kuro and Lier. At this time, Qin Yu's body, Lu Xing's tear, began to tremble. Qin Yu's face changed. He immediately closed his eyes and immersed his mind into his body, carefully paying attention to everything related to Lu Xing's tear. At this time, Lu Xing's tear also changed. Lu Xing's tear looked like a teardrop. At this moment, Lu Xing's tear flew directly into Qin Yu's mind, and then flew to the location of Qin Yu's soul. Now that Qin Yu's soul had condensed into a substance, Lu Xing's tear blended into his soul, and at the same time, the surrounding soul energy was completely absorbed into Lu Xing's tear. His soul and Lu Xing's tear fused, and the soul energy was completely withdrawn. Even if an expert were to investigate, they would not be able to detect the slightest trace of Qin Yu's aura. Tremble. Qin Yu's whole body quivered. Xue Yan and the other three carefully looked at Qin Yu. Today, Qin Yu was standing in the air, his long hair fluttering in the wind. His whole body did not have any aura, including the aura of his soul. He was like a lifeless stone. Suddenly, Qin Yu opened his eyes were bright, and his whole body was restored to vitality. So after the soul condenses into a substance, it still needs to go through the three souls' 9 refinements. Qin Yu murmured, his face had a satisfied smile. Chapter 3:12. The 3 Souls 9 Refinements is a special kind of soul training technique. This technique was transmitted into Qin Yu's mind from the meteoric tear after he had fused with it. This Lu Xing's tear is too mysterious. Even now that it can fuse with my soul, I still don't know anything about it. Qin Yu's face showed a trace of helplessness. Master, are you feeling okay? Xue Yan asked after a long time. Just now Qin Yu's aura had completely disappeared, as if his soul had dispersed. This gave Xue Yan and the others a big fright. But after a while, Qin Yu opened his eyes again, giving the other 3 a feeling that their master's eyes were even sharper. I feel very good. Qin Yu nodded. After the fusion of Lu Xing's tear and his soul, Qin Yu's control over the power of the soul was raised to the extreme. He could even retract all of his soul power into Lu Xing's tear, making it impossible for others to sense his aura. He had complete control over every bit of energy in his body, whether it was the dark star in his dantian, or his soul, or even his body. The feeling of complete control was wonderful. You all rest on the side, I still need to familiarize myself with my current energy. Qin Yu said to the 4. Yes, master. The 4 bowed and immediately retreated to the side. Qin Yu's whole body muscles tightened. The space around him trembled slightly. Qin Yu's right hand suddenly struck out, and in a flash, everyone could see that Qin Yu had punched out thousands of times at the same spot. Puff! Qin Yu's figure flew back, only to see that the spot where he struck just now had shattered. Master's body is so strong. Xue Yan and the others were shocked. They had seen the explosive power of his body, and even these level 9 demons didn't dare to take it head-on. Qin Yu looked at the scene with satisfaction. After being nurtured by the elemental life force for more than 150 years, my physical body is indeed much stronger than before. This time, he had been cultivating in seclusion for more than 150 years. On the purple mystic star, he had cultivated to the star stage for less than 100 years. It was not surprising that he had achieved so much in the past 150 years. By relying on his fleshly body alone, he should be able to fight on par with a level 7 heavenly immortal. Qin Yu speculated. As for how strong Qin Yu's fleshly body was, Qin Yu himself wasn't very sure. Perhaps he would only know after fighting a level 7 heavenly immortal expert. But compared to his physical body, Qin Yu was confident in the energy of the 7th stage of the stellar transformations, the dark cycle. The yuanying of a 9th tribulation loose cultivator is equivalent to the yuanying of a 6th level immortal, plus my own eternal star. The dark star, formed from the collapse of this star, might not have as much energy as a level 8 or level 9 celestial immortal, but its attack power might not necessarily be the same. Qin Yu felt very confident. After all, the attack power of the Dark Sun was extremely concentrated. Now let's test out the strength of the Dark Sun. Qin Yu felt a little excited. This was the first time he used the true attack power of the 7th stage of the stellar transformations. He withdrew his fist to his waist. Punch! Like a thunderbolt in the dark night. Like a piece of paper being cut by a knife, a straight line appeared in space. The long line of space began to suck in the surrounding energy. Qin Yu's whole body had already retreated at the same time as he punched. Just the power of a single punch, but it's comparable to the power of my fleshly body. Qin Yu felt very satisfied. But Shuo Yan and the other three were shocked. In the mortal world, being able to shatter the void was not a difficult thing. But what surprised them was, Qin Yu's punch did not affect the surrounding people at all. The attack was condensed to the extreme. Shuo Yan, what do you think of my attack power? Qin Yu asked. Shuo Yan pondered for a moment and shook her head. I'm sorry, Master. Because this is the mortal world, being able to shatter the void only means that Master's attack power is very strong, at least comparable to a level 8 or level 9 celestial immortal. But as for your true strength, it's hard to judge. Qin Yu nodded. I remember, as long as you reach the level of a golden immortal, you can open the second layer of the Atlas, right? Qin Yu suddenly said with a smile. Yes. Shuo Yan nodded. Suddenly, Shuo Yan was surprised. Master, don't tell me you want to. The other three spirit beasts also looked at Qin Yu. Open the second layer of the Atlas? Looking at Qin Yu's current strength, it's hard to say whether he can open it or not. If he really opens it, there will be a lot of Demon King level spirit beasts, and they will be at the bottom of the pile. Yes, the requirement to open the second layer of the Atlas is to reach the level of a golden immortal. As long as I have that strength. Qin Yu immediately flipped his hand and took out the Atlas. Although he had just broken through, but the attack power of the Dark Week was indeed amazing. In terms of attack power, it might even be comparable to a golden immortal. The extremely condensed and sharp energy within Qin Yu's body was channeled into the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. The 10,000 Beasts Atlas emitted a faint light, and Qin Yu's face began to turn red. After a while, Qin Yu gave up. The Atlas returned to its normal state. Just a little bit more. Qin Yu felt helpless. Just now, he could clearly feel the sharp energy of the stars rushing towards him, but it was just a little bit more. Looks like I'm still not as strong as a golden immortal. Qin Yu sighed, and then shook his head with a smile. Was he being too greedy? He had just broken through to the Dark Week realm, and he was already trying to open the second layer of the Atlas. In fact, the fact that the Dark Star's attack power was so strong, he should be laughing. The Dark Week corresponds to the heavenly immortal realm, but since I created the Dark Week, I should break it down. Qin Yu began to think about the level of this cultivation technique. He had broken through, and now a dark red ball had formed in his body, and its attack power was close to that of a golden immortal. What level of the Dark Week was this? The early stage of the Dark Star? No, if I didn't absorb the yuanying of the 9th Tribulation Loose Cultivator during the collapse, I guess the Dark Star formed is the early stage of the Dark Star. As for now, Qin Yu found it difficult to judge. In fact, Qin Yu was not very clear. If he didn't absorb the yuanying of the 9th level Loose Cultivator, his star would also collapse and form a Dark Star, but it would be a red Dark Star. Now, Qin Yu's dark red Dark Star was already at the second stage. This was thanks to the yuanying of the 9th level Loose Cultivator. After all, my attack power is close to that of a golden immortal, and I also absorbed the yuanying of a 9th level Loose Cultivator. For now, I'll define it as the middle stage of the Dark Star. Qin Yu began to carefully divide the levels of the Dark Week. In the early stage of the Dark Star, its energy was equivalent to that of a 1 to 3 heavenly immortal, and its attack power was equivalent to that of a 4 to 6 heavenly immortal. In the middle stage of the Dark Star, its energy was equivalent to that of a 4 to 6 heavenly immortal, and its attack power was equivalent to that of a 7 to 9 heavenly immortal. In the late stage of the Dark Star, its energy was equivalent to that of a 7 to 9 heavenly immortal, and its attack power was equivalent to that of a 1 to 3 golden immortal. This was the result of Qin Yu's own energy. When he absorbed the yuanying of the 9th Tribulation Loose Cultivator, it was equivalent to the yuanying of a 6th level heavenly immortal, and also had the energy of his own star. But during the collapse, he lost more than half of it. His overall energy was estimated to be around that of a 5th or 6th level heavenly immortal. But because the energy of the Dark Star was extremely pure, its attack power was only around that of a 8th or 9th level heavenly immortal. Shuo Yan, come and spar with me. Qin Yu shouted to Shuo Yan. Ah, spar with Master? Shuo Yan was startled. Qin Yu nodded with a smile. Shuo Yan couldn't help but feel distressed. After all, she was the leader of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. Although she was a 9th-level heavenly demon, her attack power was not inferior to that of a 1st-level demon king. Fighting with her own master, if she were to injure him, then the consequences would be dire. "Just do it, don't worry," Qin Yu said indifferently. Now that his strength had greatly increased, and with the protection of Lu Xing's tear, Qin Yu believed that he could still compete with Shuo Yan. "Yes, master." Qin Yu had given the order, so Shuo Yan could not resist. "Be careful," Qin Yu coldly shouted, and made his move. Qin Yu did not move, but a sharp sword qi shot towards Shuo Yan. At this moment, Qin Yu was holding a top-grade immortal weapon, and the energy of the Dark Star was infused into it. Because the energy of the Dark Star was originally extremely pure, the sword qi's sharpness was not inferior to that of a 8th or 9th level heavenly immortal. With Qin Yu's strength and a top-grade immortal weapon, his attack power was terrifying. When Shuo Yan saw the sword qi, she knew that her master's strength was formidable. She didn't hide her strength anymore, and in her hand appeared a dark green scimitar. She began to resist the sword qi and began to attack. Good. The top-grade immortal weapon in Qin Yu's hand suddenly turned into a dagger, and Qin Yu's whole body turned into an afterimage. After reaching the middle stage of the Dark Star realm, Qin Yu's current speed was even more astonishing. One could only see the afterimages attacking Shuo Yan. At the same time, among the countless afterimages, there was also the cold light of the dagger. What a fast speed! Shuo Yan's body was a fox, and she was good at speed. But compared to Qin Yu, she was at a disadvantage. The energy condensed to the extreme brought about astonishing speed. The powerful body also allowed Qin Yu's speed to reach another level. To be able to surpass Shuo Yan in terms of speed, Qin Yu had already expected it. 1,000 fox shadows. Behind Shuo Yan, a foxtail suddenly appeared, and at the same time, the foxtail turned into 1,000. Looking at the sky full of foxtails, Qin Yu only felt his head become muddled, and then he immediately sobered up. But in the blink of an eye, the dark green scimitar had already arrived in front of Qin Yu. Lu Xing's strike. Shuo Yan was stunned. Qin Yu did not care about the scimitar, and instead closed his eyes. The dark star energy in his body rapidly formed a huge nebula around him. Closed eyes. Shuo Yan's hand holding the scimitar trembled. After all, Qin Yu was her master, and she did not dare to kill him. What a wonderful feeling! Qin Yu suddenly felt that his connection with the heaven and earth had reached a terrifying level. Speed. Speed. Exceeding the limit of speed. Qi. With the top-grade immortal sword as the pinnacle, Qin Yu's whole body was like a sharp awl. Relying on the stellar domain and his connection with the heaven and earth, he burst out with unprecedented speed and passed by Shuo Yan. Shuo Yan's whole body disappeared in a flash. Hoo! A huge crack in space appeared. This crack was too big, at least 100 meters wide. It crazily swallowed everything around it, and for a moment, the surrounding rocks were swallowed up. Whether it was Qin Yu or the 4 law protectors, they all disappeared. After a moment, the crack in space disappeared, and Yellowstone returned to normal. After a long time, Qin Yu appeared again. Heavens, I just wanted to test out Lu Xing's attack. Was it necessary to make such a big scene to scare me? Qin Yu laughed at himself, but his heart was still trembling. Fortunately, I reacted quickly and put them all into the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. I also escaped into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Otherwise, it would have been really dangerous. After Qin Yu released that attack, he knew it was not good. He immediately put away the 4 law protectors, and in one breath, drilled hundreds of meters deep into the ground and hid in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Then Qin Yu smiled. Although it was a little dangerous, but it also confirmed what I thought. During Lu Xing's period, the energy was also condensed. Lu Xing's attack was very powerful. And now, the Dark Sun is condensed to the extreme. Using Lu Xing's attack, the power is even more outrageous. This time, even a golden immortal would not dare to receive it. Qin Yu was satisfied. In fact, The current Qin Yu, in addition to his own strength, also had the Blazing Profound Ring. With the help of the Blazing Profound Ring's 3 domains, Qin Yu could defeat a level 1 or 2 Golden Immortal. Let's solve this maze first. I should return to the Purple Mystic Planet. Qin Yu sighed. Looking up at the starry sky, the stars in the boundless starry sky still existed. The Purple Mystic Planet was still so eye-catching. That was his home, the home that raised him. No matter what, he had to go back before he ascended. For ordinary people, it was almost impossible to teleport between 2 planets. Because the path between 2 planets could not be seen with just the eyes. Because in the universe, space was twisted and turned. But Qin Yu was different. On the Purple Mystic Planet, the Ink Qilin and the Extreme Ice Lion were his spirit beasts and had a soul connection with him. Qin Yu could easily sense the position of the Ink Qilin and the Extreme Ice Lion. As long as he kept teleporting in that direction, he would definitely be able to return. I can only use some of the top-grade elemental spirit stones. With a thought, Qin Yu summoned the sword Immortal Lan Feng out of thin air and flew towards the various bases of the maze. Breaking the maze from the inside was much easier. In just a moment, the maze was broken. Shuo Yan, with a thought, Qin Yu summoned Shuo Yan in front of Qin Yu. She immediately bowed and said, "My lord." "Shuo Yan, how do I use teleportation?" Shuo Yan respectfully said, "My lord, teleportation is a divine ability that all heavenly demons, heavenly immortals, heavenly demons, can use. As long as the power of the soul is integrated with the heaven and earth, then you can sense where you want to teleport." "Good, you can go back first." Qin Yu nodded. Shuo Yan bowed and retreated, then disappeared back into the atlas. Qin Yu looked at the Purple Mystic Planet and tried to sense the position of the Extreme Ice Lion. Teleportation, a divine ability shared by all heavenly immortals. Let me give it a try. Qin Yu closed his eyes and began to integrate his soul with the heaven and earth. But at this time, a comfortable feeling spread throughout Qin Yu's body. It was as if he was sleeping in his mother's embrace. In Qin Yu's mind, the image of the Extreme Ice Lion appeared, and even the courtyard where he was. Qin Yu relied on that special and wonderful feeling, teleportation. Qin Yu disappeared from the Yellowstone star. When Qin Yu reappeared, is it really teleportation? Qin Yu looked at the shocked Extreme Ice Lion in front of him and couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Teleportation. Can one directly teleport from a Yellowstone star to the Purple Mystic Planet's hidden dragon continent? Chapter 313. Qin Yu initially wanted to teleport as far as he could, but who would have thought that he would be able to teleport to the Qianlong continent? "Shuo Yan, come out." Qin Yu quickly summoned Shuo Yan. In terms of understanding of teleportation, Shuo Yan was indeed much better than Qin Yu. "Shuo Yan, tell me, how far can you teleport? Is it possible to go directly from Yellowstone to Purple Mystic Star?" As soon as Shuo Yan came out, Qin Yu immediately asked. Shuo Yan was stunned. Go directly from Yellowstone to Purple Mystic Star? Is that still called teleportation? Master, don't joke around. How can teleportation be that far? To teleport from Yellowstone to Purple Mystic Star, even if you know the route, it would take at least 100 times. Shuo Yan said with absolute certainty. Suddenly Shuo Yan looked around. Her whole body was stunned. This master, this should be Purple Mystic Star, right? Shuo Yan couldn't believe what she was seeing, but the surrounding trees and houses, as well as the Ice Lion Xian who wanted to speak but was silenced by Qin Yu's glare. All of this explained that this was Purple Mystic Star. Shuo Yan remembered very clearly that her master had summoned her to ask about teleportation, and in the blink of an eye, they were already on Purple Mystic Star. This was too fast. This is Purple Mystic Star. Shuo Yan, listen carefully. Just now I used the method you described to teleport, but in the blink of an eye, I arrived on Purple Mystic Star's Qianlong continent. Qin Yu looked at Shuo Yan. Tell me, what is going on? Shuo Yan looked at Qin Yu with some sluggishness. Master, you said you went directly from Yellowstone to Purple Mystic Star? Shuo Yan couldn't believe it. Qin Yu nodded again. Master, that was greater teleportation. It was definitely greater teleportation. If it was just teleportation, how could it be so far? But, with your skill, how could it be greater teleportation? Shuo Yan couldn't accept it. Qin Yu's eyes lit up. Greater teleportation? As far as I know, greater teleportation is a divine ability that only golden immortals and above can use. Tell me, what are the main requirements to use greater teleportation? Yes. Shuo Yan replied, before continuing in detail. Before I talk about greater teleportation, I will first tell Master about the fundamental reason behind the teleportation and greater teleportation. What determines whether a person can teleport or not is the realm of his soul. Soul realm? Qin Yu asked. Shuo Yan nodded. Yes, in order to teleport, one's soul must be at least at the immortal, demon, or demon level. As for greater void transference, one's soul has to reach the level of a golden immortal, demon king, or Yao king. But my soul state has yet to reach the level of a golden immortal. Qin Yu was puzzled. I don't know. Shuo Yan was also helpless. Qin Yu racked his brains for a moment but still couldn't figure out how he could use the greater teleportation. In the end, he could only helplessly let Shuo Yan return to the Atlas. In fact, what Qin Yu didn't know was that this was the effect of the Lu Xing's tear. Lu Xing's tear allowed Qin Yu to easily and completely control the power of the soul. At the same time, it allowed Qin Yu's soul to have a high degree of compatibility with the heavens and earth. Whether it was teleportation or greater void transference, it all depended on the degree of compatibility with the heavens and earth. If one could reach a level where the heavens and earth were indistinguishable from each other, then one could instantly reach any place in the universe. Lu Xing's tear allowed Qin Yu's soul to have a higher degree of compatibility with the heavens and earth. This allowed Qin Yu to use the greater void transference. Times, Master? Shi Rexian quietly called out. Oh, Shi Rexian. Qin Yu recovered from his deep thoughts. No matter how smart Qin Yu was, he didn't know that Lu Xing's tear not only had a super strong recovery ability and nourishing the body and soul, it also allowed Qin Yu's soul to integrate with the heavens and earth more easily. When Qin Yu merged with the heavens and earth, he thought that he had already reached that level of compatibility. Master, you've already made a breakthrough? Are you going to ascend? Shi Rexian tried hard to suppress the excitement in his heart. In Shi Rexian's opinion, Qin Yu should be about to ascend when he came out of seclusion. Qin Yu nodded and said, Soon. There are still 3 months left. Great, I can finally ascend. Finally, I finally have this day. Shi Rexian's entire body trembled with excitement. His eyes began to turn red and moist. Qin Yu looked at Shi Rexian and only smiled. He knew how Shi Rexian was feeling. Shi Rexian and his brothers had long reached the Deshang stage. If not for the fact that their masters, Qin Yu and his brothers, had not ascended, they would have ascended long ago. Shi Rexian's 2 brothers, Shi Bing and Shi Zhan, had ascended over 100 years ago because they were the spiritual beasts of Ho Fei and Kuro. In these 100 years, Shi Rexian often missed his brothers. And now, he was finally able to ascend together with Qin Yu. I've implicated you. Qin Yu also felt a bit guilty towards Shi Rexian. If he did not cultivate bitterly for 100 years before ascending, how could Shi Rexian be trapped in the mortal world and not be able to ascend? No, Master, I'm already very excited that you can ascend. Ah, Master, your father often wants to see you. You've come back and not seen him? Shi Rexian said. Qin Yu nodded. Father. This time, didn't he come back for his family? Qin Yu's immortal sense, temporarily called immortal sense. After all, Qin Yu does not belong to the side of immortals, demons and monsters, spread out in all directions. In a moment, Qin Yu's spiritual sense covered the 3 dynasties of the Qianlong continent. His father and Fenjiuzi are actually at the top of Mount Donglan. His big brother and second brother are resting in a temporary palace at the edge of the wilderness. In these 100 years, his father's power has also reached the early Dongshu stage. Qin Yu's figure moves and disappears. Times on top of Mount Donglon. The mountain wind blows. Qin De and Fenjiuzi are playing chess in the wind. For these two Dongshu stage experts, the wind is nothing. The two of them have been playing chess for 13 whole days. Qin De and Fenjiuzi play chess relatively slowly. Especially towards the end, sometimes they only play one chess piece after half a day. Father, Uncle Feng. The mountain wind blows strongly. Qin Yu's voice also blows into the two Fenjiuzi's ears like the mountain wind. Qin De and Fenjiuzi can ignore the mountain wind, but that voice that floats into their ears makes them tremble. Who? Qin De suddenly stands up and turns around to look not far away. As soon as he takes a look, his whole body starts to tremble. The chess piece in his hand also falls down on the chessboard without him noticing. The mountain wind blows. Qin Yu's long hair flutters and his robe billows. But his eyes are so similar to those of a child. There is still a trace of attachment. You've finally come back. Qin De's voice trembles. His eyes cannot help reddening. Yes, I've come back. Qin Yu nods. Fenjiuzi's voice rises. There is excitement in his voice. Come, Xiao Yu. Quickly sit down next to your father and Uncle Feng. Come quickly. As he is saying, Fenjiuzi hurriedly beckons with his hands. Yes. In front of the elders, Qin Yu is like an obedient child. He sits down next to his father and Uncle Feng. Where have you been practicing for the past 100 years? I've tried everything but I still haven't been able to find you. Qin De asks. The Yellowstone Star. Qin Yu says with a faint smile. The Yellowstone Star? You mean, on another star? Qin De is slightly startled. Even Fenjiuzi is stunned for a moment. Then Qin De laughs. I can't see through anything about you anymore. The Yellowstone Star, another star. I'm afraid even those loose immortals wouldn't dare to leave our star. Qin Yu nods. Even Reverend Ming Liang and the others wouldn't dare to leave the purple mystic star. After all, getting lost in the universe is an extremely terrifying thing. Unless they have the greater teleportation ability, they can easily enter a planet with people. Brother Feng, in my life, I'm most proud to have such a son. Qin De's face is full of pride. This is the expression of a father who is proud of his son. Fenjiuzi nods. Brother Qin De, I remember when Xiao Yu was young, you didn't think he would become a genius and didn't care much about him. Hearing this, Qin Yu can't help but think back to those days. That year, that child, in the cold wind of the mountain peak, looked up at the starry sky and watched the stars in the night sky. That year, that child gritted his teeth and cultivated bitterly. His sweat sprinkled on the mountain path of Mount Donglon until he became an adult. Swimming in the lake, running with weights, flexibility training, digging his palms into the white sand. One scene after another appears in his mind. In the blink of an eye, more than 200 years have passed, but the memories are still so vivid. Qin Yu looks at his father. Everything he had done back then was to earn his father's praise. Qin De laughs self-mockingly. Yes, when I knew you, couldn't cultivate and wasn't interested in politics, I gave up on him long ago. Who would have thought? You would become the first Xiantian external expert in the history of the Hidden Dragon continent. Not long after that, he stepped into the ranks of cultivators. Qin De sighs. Everything is like a dream. I didn't care about my third son, but he shocked me again and again. That time when more than 10,000 cultivators appeared at the same time, knelt down in front of me and shouted, "Greetings, Pavilion Master," I was stupefied. As my cultivation deepened, I learned a lot of things I didn't know in the past. Those formidable loose immortals came into my field of vision. Facing those loose immortals, our Qin clan had no power to resist. Only you, and those two protectors, they were unexpectedly divine beasts of the loose demon level. They were even you-er's spiritual beasts. Qin De smiles, then looks at Qin Yu. I really can't believe that I could have such a son. Father is proud of his son. Hearing these words, Qin Yu feels a surge of emotion in his heart. More than 100 years ago, 10 years after you had been in closed-door training, Zhongju appeared. He helped us kill Yu Liang and in the end he ascended. He also told me that you were about to ascend too. All these years, I've been thinking, has you already ascended? Now I can set my mind at ease. At least I can still see you before you ascend. Qinda looks at his son with a gratified expression. With such a son, what regrets can he have in life? Father. Qin Yu's eyes turn slightly red. Because he knows that he will have to ascend in 3 months. Ascension is a restriction imposed by the laws of heaven and earth. He simply cannot escape it. Don't be like this. Be a man. Qinda pats Qin Yu's shoulder. Qin Yu takes a deep breath and tries his best to squeeze out a smile. But his eyes are still red. The period before his ascension is indeed very comfortable. Qin Yu is accompanying his father, his big brother and second brother as well as many of the younger generation of the Qin clan. Qin Yu is unexpectedly also from the generation of Qinda's great-grandfather. After all, in terms of years of cultivation, he has already been cultivating for more than 200 years. I didn't expect that in a short 30 years, the Qin dynasty would decline to this extent. On the eve of his ascension, Qin Yu is chatting with his 2 brothers and his father. Speaking of the decline of the Qin dynasty, Qin Yu cannot help but sigh endlessly. Little Yu, don't worry about it. Whether a dynasty succeeds or fails, we can only let nature take its course. Moreover, it is almost impossible to let a dynasty flourish forever. Even though our Qin clan's latent power is extremely strong in the whole Qianlong continent and even in the north of the chaotic Astral Ocean, a dynasty that cannot last for too long will not last forever. However, a dynasty maintained by force cannot last long. Moreover, it would also implicate the common people. Qin Zheng said indifferently. Qin Zheng has the ability to manage the country well, but it has been passed down from one emperor to another. Every emperor of the Qin dynasty has real power. Even when the last generation declined, Qin Zheng and the countless seniors of the Qin clan did not do anything. Because, these seniors all understand that becoming the most powerful clan in the Qianlong continent will allow the Qin clan's descendants to concentrate more on cultivation. The way of the king? Nowadays, most of the Qin clan's descendants practice the way of the heaven and have stepped onto the path of cultivation. This is also good. Managing a country is indeed tiring. This is actually relaxing. Qin Yu takes a deep breath, then takes out a set of jade slips from his bosom and solemnly hands them over to his father. This is. Qinda takes the jade slips doubtfully. Qin Yu says solemnly, "This is my practice method, the stellar transformations." The requirements for practicing the stellar transformations are very high. First of all, one must practice external techniques to the Xiantian level. Father, you can choose some people who are talented in external techniques to train. If someone reaches the Xiantian level in external techniques, he can also be a human. Please help me pass down this set of techniques. Qin Yu stands up and looks up at the starry sky. This set of techniques was created by my master, Lei Wei. There are 6 stages in total. The 7th stage was created by me and the 8th stage is the one I imagined. As for the later stages, if the successor of the stellar transformations can meet me in the future, I'll tell him. If he can't, he can only rely on his own ability. Qin Yu says indifferently. Qinda nods solemnly. Don't worry. I'll definitely help you pass down this set of techniques. Even if I can't find a successor in this lifetime, I'll ask the Qin clan to help me find one. Qin Yu's heart relaxes. What will the future be like? No one knows. Leaving behind the stellar transformation set of techniques can be considered as not ending this unprecedented set of techniques. In the dark night, the family waits for the dawn. Qin De, Qin Zheng, Qin Feng, Feng Yuzi, Su Yuan, and many other disciples of the Qin clan have come to the Misty Mountain Villa to look at the first senior of the Qin clan to ascend. Qin De looks at Qin Yu. Qin Zheng, Qin Feng, and the others all look at Qin Yu with reluctance. Rays of light shoot down from the sky, covering Qin Yu and Shurexien who is beside him. Gradually, in the golden light, Qin Yu and Shurexien slowly rise into the sky. Looking at his family below, Qin Yu's eyes redden. He suddenly turns his head to look at the sky. However, tears are rolling down his face and splattering on the ground below. Father, big brother, second brother, goodbye. Now, I can only hope that we can meet again in the immortal, devil and demon realm. Qin Yu says in his heart. 2 rays of golden light flashes. Qin Yu and Shurexien disappear in front of Qin De, Qin Zheng, Qin Feng, and the other disciples of the Qin clan. They all know that Qin Yu has left the mortal world and arrived in another world. Chapter 3:14. The immortal, devil and demon realm was an enormous universe, almost endless. The entire universe was filled with an endless amount of elemental spirit energy. The elemental spirit energy was 1 level higher than the heaven and earth spirit energy of the mortal world. The entire immortal, devil and demon realm was divided into 4 major regions. The immortal realm was located in the east of the universe. The devil realm was located in the south of the universe. The demon realm was located in the west and north of the universe. In the northeast region, there was a special power. At the same time, the immortal, devil and demon realms also had a mysterious region. These 4 regions were not very clearly separated. The places where they intersected were also tangled and complicated. The immortal and devil realms were connected by a large star field, the Indigo Bay star field. The Indigo Bay star field just happened to have 10 galaxies. The area of each of these 10 galaxies was incomparably vast. The number of planets in any one of these galaxies was innumerable. Of course, the number of planets with people was much less. Don't think that the lowest level in the immortal, devil and demon realm was the immortal, devil and demon realm. Because even in the immortal, devil and demon realm, there were countless self-cultivators. These were the children of immortals and immortals in the beginning. However, these children became self-cultivators in the beginning. Because the immortal, devil and demon realm was filled with an endless amount of elemental spirit energy, under the nurturing of the elemental spirit energy. The babies born were usually at least at the Xiantian level. The self-cultivators of the mortal world were unable to absorb elemental spirit energy. However, the self-cultivators of the immortal, devil and demon realm were different. Their ancestors were all immortals. Moreover, they absorbed elemental spirit energy from birth. They could absorb elemental spirit energy to cultivate. In the immortal, devil and demon realm, most of the babies born were at the Xiantian level. Their aptitude was much better than the self-cultivators of the mortal world. Generally, they could become immortals after cultivating for 100 years. Compared to the mortal world's self-cultivators who needed to cultivate for thousands of years, it was simply not on the same level. Of course, to become immortal so quickly, the foundation of the immortals who successfully cultivated in the immortal, devil and demon realm was not as good as those who ascended from the mortal world. Times the Indigo Bay star field's Silver Stream galaxy had thousands of self-cultivator planets. Maple Moon Star could only be considered as an upper-middle-class planet. There were tens of millions of self-cultivators, over 10,000 immortals, and only a few golden immortals. There were already so many heavenly immortals on a single planet. One could imagine how many heavenly immortals there were in the entire immortal, devil and demon realm. In the Indigo Bay starfield where the immortal realm and the devil realm intersected, there was a cultivation planet called Maple Moon in the Silver Stream galaxy. On the outskirts of Lu Feng City, one of the 3 major cities on Amber Moon, beside a lake. A blue-clothed youth in his 20s was kneeling beside the lake, tears streaming down his face. Mother, after so many years of cultivation, I'm already 25 years old, but I'm still in the Jin Dan stage. Other than me, the oldest Jin Dan cultivator in the clan is only 16 years old. The blue-clothed youth's face was filled with resentment. His aptitude was so poor that it could be said to be unprecedented in the clan. I've been training very hard. But no matter how hard I train, it's useless. It's all useless. The blue-clothed youth smashed his fist on the ground. Without low-grade elemental holy ore, how long will it take for me to reach the yuanying stage? My only chance was to fall behind the 100th place in the clan competition. The blue-clothed youth's face was filled with helplessness. The competition within the clan was between the disciples of the same generation. Other than him, the other disciples of his generation were all in the yuanying stage. If he wasn't at the bottom, who would be? I'm weak, and I'm always at the bottom in the competition. The clan didn't even give me a single low-grade elemental holy ore. As for those who are strong, the clan treats them as elite disciples and gives them low-grade elemental holy ore. Like this, I don't have any elemental holy ore. My strength is getting worse and worse, while their strength is getting stronger and stronger. The gap between us is getting bigger and bigger. This burden is getting heavier and heavier. With each passing year, the gap is getting bigger and bigger. I'm getting less and less confident. I really can't hold on anymore. The blue-clothed youth's eyes were filled with tears. I'm respectful to the seniors in the clan, and I trained so hard. But it's useless. It's useless. I don't have any strength. I'm useless. If this goes on, I'll never become an elite disciple of the clan. I'll always be at the bottom. The blue-clothed youth's whole body was trembling. Father is so strict with me, but I have no choice. Every day, I spend more than half of my time training, but my talent is too poor, far inferior to others. My meridians are so weak. When will I be able to turn things around? The blue-clothed youth's face was bleak. Lu Han Shu, the surname Lu, is a big surname. It's a glorious surname, but it gives me endless pressure. My heart is tired, and I can't take it anymore. The blue-clothed youth was Lu Han Shu. Lu clan, one of the 3 great clans of Maple Moon. The Lu clan had been operating for tens of thousands of years. Naturally, there were many disciples in the clan, and the competition within the clan was fierce. And Lu Han Shu was the weakest among his peers. Most newborns were in the Xiantian stage. With normal talent, they could enter the Jindan stage at the age of 5 or 6, and enter the yuanying stage at the age of 10. But Lu Han Shu was already 25 years old, and he was still in the Jindan stage. Moreover, he was in the middle stage of the Jindan stage. His talent was poor, needless to say. Father's talent is poor, so he is very respectful to others. Once, there was a sky immortal expert who helped Father open up his meridians and dantian, allowing Father to catch up with the average person. Now he has reached the Dongshu stage. But I am also very respectful to others, but I have never met a noble. Father said that if I meet a master, I must bow and salute, and say some words of praise. But bowing my whole life, that kind of compromise, I can't stand it. Lu Han Shu laughed at himself. Mother, I have no talent, no strength, no wealth, and I still want to stand upright. Am I dreaming? Lu Han Shu smiled bleakly. Lu Han Shu had been too tired these years. As an adult, he was in the Jindan stage. Walking on the street, he was looked down upon. Even a 12 or 13-year-old child could easily defeat him in the yuanying stage. Looked down upon by others, looked down upon by the clan, reprimanded by his father. Looked down upon by his peers in the clan. This kind of life was driving Lu Han Shu crazy. He also wanted to be respected, he also wanted to be praised, he also wanted to have a warm family. But this was a world of competition, a world where the strong were respected. He was weak. It was not that he didn't work hard, he worked harder than most people, but his talent was too poor. Whenever he couldn't bear it anymore, he would come to this lake. Because his mother was killed by a Kongming stage cultivator near this lake. His mother was very strong. She reached the Kongming stage in her 30s. If his mother was still alive, he might live a better life. But that was just a fantasy. Life is still going on, I also have to go back. The Amber Moon Star was only so big. Where could he hide that the self-cultivators couldn't find him? I can only face reality and go back to practice seriously. Lu Honshu stood up with a bitter smile. If Lu Honshu really went back as usual, he would have to practice hard all his life, and live at the bottom of the amber moon. However, this time was different from the previous times. Lu Honshu had already turned around and was ready to go back. "Hey, little brother!" A voice called out. Lu Honshu belonged to the bottom of the amber moon. When he heard someone call him, how could he not listen? Lu Honshu immediately turned around. His expression changed from bleak to respectful and friendly. This was the way to live a good life and not be humiliated by those with high skills. Lu Honshu looked carefully at the person who came. In the air, a figure appeared in front of Lu Honshu. So fast, at least a Kongming stage master. Lu Honshu had lived for many years. His eyesight was still good. The person who had arrived was dressed in black clothes. His long robe was fluttering in the wind, and his messy hair was fluttering in the wind. Those cold eyes seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. The person who came was Qin Yu. When Qin Yu and Shi Xin ascended together, he thought that since they ascended together, they would ascend to the same place. Who would have thought that when Qin Yu found out where he was, he couldn't find Shi Xin at all. Even with the soul connection, he could only sense that Shi Xin was far away in the west. Far away. Qin Yu couldn't even imagine what kind of distance it was. Obviously, Shi Xin ascended to the demon realm, and Qin Yu came to this planet. Junior Lu Honshu greets Senior. Lu Honshu said respectfully. Qin Yu looked at Lu Honshu and nodded. Using his immortal sense, Qin Yu found that Lu Honshu was at the middle stage of Jin Dan, but his meridians were unusually thin and weak. With such thin meridians, you can reach the Jin Dan stage? Qin Yu was shocked. If in the mortal world, with such thin meridians, it would be impossible to reach the Xiantian stage. Not to mention reaching the Jin Dan stage. But Qin Yu's perspective was wrong. He forgot that mortal practitioners couldn't compare with the practitioners of the immortal, devil and demon realm, because the practitioners of the immortal, devil and demon realm practiced elemental spiritual energy. "How old are you this year?" Qin Yu asked. He wanted to know how long it would take for someone with such thin and weak meridians to reach the Jin Dan stage. Lu Honshu's face showed a trace of a bitter smile. 25 years old, middle stage of Jin Dan, this was indeed a very shameful matter. Junior is 25 years old this year. Junior's aptitude is too poor. It took me so long to reach this level of strength. Lu Honshu replied respectfully. He didn't dare to not answer Qin Yu's question. Qin Yu was surprised. 25 years old? With such aptitude, you reached the middle stage of Jin Dan at 25 years old. You didn't lie to me? Qin Yu was shocked. In the Qianlong continent, the average practitioner needed several decades to reach the middle stage of Jin Dan, and 100 years to reach the middle stage of Jin Dan. To reach this stage at 25 years old, he was indeed a genius. Even Qin Yu only reached the nebula stage when he was 20 years old. Junior really didn't lie to Senior. I wouldn't lie about such a shameful matter. Lu Honshu felt helpless, but he also felt that Qin Yu was different from the experts of the past. Most of the experts of the past were incomparably arrogant, but Qin Yu treated him with a smile. Shameful. Qin Yu was stunned. Although before Qin Yu came to the immortal, devil and demon realms, he only paid attention to the information regarding the immortal, devil and demon realms. He also paid attention to the general geographical knowledge and so on. Regarding the immortal, devil and demon realms cultivators, why would Qin Yu care? He didn't know that the immortal, devil and demon realms cultivators were special. Seeing Qin Yu's shocked expression, Lu Honshu laughed at himself. Generally, 5 or 6-year-old children can reach the Jin Dan stage, 10 or 11-year-old children can reach the Yuanying stage, and 20-year-old people can reach the Dongshu stage. I am 20-year-old and only at the Jin Dan stage. If not shameful, who would? Qin Yu was shocked when he heard all this. 5 or 6-year-old Jin Dan stage. Average. He was almost 20 years old and reached the nebula stage, and was worshipped by countless of the Qin clan's younger generation. If this achievement was brought to the immortal, devil and demon realms, wouldn't it be shameful? Shuyen, How can the immortal, devil and demon realms cultivators cultivate so fast? Qin Yu asked Shuo Yen from the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts. Shuo Yen from the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts began to explain to Qin Yu in detail about the immortal, devil and demon realms. Although the two spoke a lot, but in reality, it was only a blink of an eye. So that's how it is. Qin Yu understood. In fact, Qin Yu also had some problems. He had a complete map of the entire immortal, devil and demon realms. Generally, Golden Immortal, Demon King, Devil King, level experts would not leave their galaxy. At most, they would use the teleportation array to travel between planets. His own spirit beasts from the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts were only familiar with a few planets in the demon realm. He had no idea about the map of the immortal, devil and demon realms. In the immortal, devil and demon realms, without a map, interstellar travel was simply impossible. Lu Honshu, what planet is this? Which side of the immortal, devil and demon realms does it belong to? Qin Yu inquired. Lu Honshu felt that Qin Yu's question was a little idiotic, but he still respectfully answered. Senior, this planet is called Amber Moon. It belongs to the Indigo Bay star field, the Silver Stream Galaxy. This Indigo Bay star field does not belong to the immortal realm nor the devil realm. It is a star field that connects the immortal realm and the devil realm. In this star field, there are planets controlled by experts from the immortal realm, and planets controlled by experts from the devil realm. As for Amber Moon, it is controlled by the immortal realm. Qin Yu understood in his heart. So, he had ascended to a place that did not belong to the immortal realm nor the devil realm. He had only opened the first layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts. Those heavenly demon-level spirit beasts probably did not even know anything about the immortal realm or the devil realm. Not to mention this Amber Moon planet. In the immortal, devil and demon realms, those below the golden immortal or devil king level do not have the qualifications to travel between planets. For the time being, I will stay on this Amber Moon planet. I will wait until my power increases and I can open the second layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts, then I will set off. Qin Yu made up his mind. At this moment, Qin Yu also understood that this Lu Honshu should be at the bottom of this planet. Lu Honshu, I am not familiar with this Amber Moon planet. Can you lead the way? Here is a piece of middle-grade elemental holy rock as your reward. Qin Yu took out a piece of middle-grade elemental holy rock from the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Chapter 315. A piece of middle-grade elemental holy ore? To Qin Yu, it was indeed nothing. The entire Qingyu Immortal Mansion was made of elemental holy ore. Inside the mansion, there were many piles of elemental holy ore. Even high-grade elemental holy ore was plentiful. In the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, one could casually pick up a piece of rock. If it wasn't an elemental holy ore, then it was an ore used to refine immortal tools. It was just that there was no top-grade elemental holy ore in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Middle-grade elemental holy ore? Lead the way. Lu Honshu wondered if his ears were playing tricks on him. Even for a celestial immortal, a piece of middle-grade elemental holy ore was something to be treasured. A celestial immortal who had a good life might casually take out a middle-grade elemental holy ore. A celestial immortal who had a bad life might treat a middle-grade elemental holy ore as a treasure. Lead the way. A middle-grade elemental holy ore to lead the way. Lu Honshu looked at the middle-grade elemental holy ore in front of him. He felt as if the color of the whole world had changed. From the gray of the past, there was no hope. Could it be that you are unwilling? Qin Yu asked. Willing, of course this junior is willing. Lu Honshu's whole body was filled with energy. In more than 20 years, he had never been so excited. But Lu Honshu was not a careless person. Senior, leading the way is a small matter. It is not worth spending a middle-grade elemental holy ore. This junior is afraid to accept it. Lu Honshu respectfully said. Qin Yu smiled and said, If I ask you to accept it, then accept it. This is also my first time on Amber Moon. There are many things I am not familiar with. I still need you to explain it to me. Come, first take me to a place to stay. As he said that, Qin Yu threw the middle-grade elemental holy ore over to him. Lu Honshu took the middle-grade elemental holy ore and respectfully said, "Senior, please follow this junior." But the hand holding the middle-grade elemental holy ore was trembling. Obviously, he was very excited. Fortunately, he had a storage bracelet. He put the middle-grade elemental holy ore into his storage bracelet and felt a little relieved. Lu Honshu immediately rode on a flying sword and began to fly beside him. Qin Yu was also flying beside him. Actually, Qin Yu's immortal awareness had already discovered the existence of a city in the distance. Merely, Qin Yu currently knew very little about the immortal, devil and demon realm. Thus, he decided to temporarily live in this city and familiarize himself with the matters of the immortal, devil and demon realm. And this Lu Honshu, who grew up on Amber Moon, could save him a lot of trouble. Moreover, Qin Yu also had the intention to help Honshu. Lu Feng City, one of the 3 largest cities in Amber Moon, occupied a vast area. At least when Qin Yu was in his hometown, he had never seen such a huge city. There were at least 10 million people in this city. Senior, this is Lu Feng City, one of the 3 major cities of Maple Moon. The 3 major cities of Maple Moon are Yenshan City, Wanglian City, and Lu Feng City. Honshu carefully introduced Lu Feng City to Qin Yu. Qin Yu nodded. "Honshu, how are the experts in Amber Moon?" Qin Yu inquired. Honshu thought for a moment and said, "Experts. In Amber Moon, the lowest level is Sky Immortal. In the entire Amber Moon, there are at least tens of thousands of Sky Immortals. However, Golden Immortals are very rare. In the entire Amber Moon, there are only a few." "A few?" Qin Yu's mouth curved into a smile. With Qin Yu's current strength, he could definitely crush the Amber Moon Star as he wished. Not to mention the level 9 Golden Immortal Sword Immortal Puppet, just Qin Yu himself. Complemented by the Blazing Profound Ring, Sky Piercer, and Black Frozen Snow. Qin Yu's strength was also extraordinary. Are there any Xian Immortals, or Immortal Emperor level experts? Qin Yu inquired. Immortal Emperor? Honshu gulped. "Senior, that is a supreme level expert, too far away from us. Even the patriarch of my clan has never seen an immortal emperor before." Qin Yu nodded. In his heart, it seems, immortal emperors were very rare. Lu Feng City's gate was very wide. Qin Yu followed Honshu into the city. Upon entering the city gate, there was an extremely wide street with many people walking on it. Qin Yu swept a glance. The weakest children were Jin Dan stage, even the babies in the arms of the women were Xienti on stage. Hearing about it was one thing, but seeing it was another. This scene made Qin Yu gasp in amazement. The immortal, devil and demon realm was different. Even the babies were Xienti on stage. At this moment, there were some manners on both sides of the street, and some large shops selling ores, weapons, talismans. Lu Honshu stood beside Qin Yu and explained everything. "Senior, the quality of this weapon shop is in the top 3 in the whole Lu Feng City, but the price is very expensive. The wine in that restaurant is really good. I have drunk it once." Honshu was proud of that time he was able to drink in that restaurant. "Senior, that shop." After walking for an hour, Qin Yu finally had a general understanding of the immortal, devil and demon realms Xiuzhen cities. He also bought some good wine. The taste of the good wine here cannot be denied. It is indeed much better than the wine in the mortal realm. "Senior, the owner of this Lu Feng City is the Lu clan, one of the 3 major clans of Amber Moon. This junior is a direct descendant of the Lu clan." Lu Honshu whispered to Qin Yu. Qin Yu's eyes lit up. "Oh, I didn't expect Honshu to be a descendant of an aristocratic family." Honshu shook his head. "Senior, don't make fun of me. I don't know how many generations the Lu clan has been passed down. The number of descendants in the Lu clan is more than 10,000. Although I am considered a direct descendant. But the Lu clan nurtures its descendants mainly based on their aptitude and strength. It doesn't have much to do with a direct descendant. In a world where the strong are respected, only those with strength will be respected. Who cares if you are a direct descendant or a branch descendant? Don't be discouraged. The strong also started as a weakling. Qin Yu laughed. Looking at Han Shu, Qin Yu also thought of himself. Back then, he couldn't even practice internal energy. Compared to Han Shu, his aptitude was even worse. So bad that he could only start from the outside and practice his internal energy to reach his current level of cultivation. And Lu Han Shu nodded after receiving Qin Yu's encouragement. Senior, it is my good fortune to be able to walk beside you today. Normally, how could I have the opportunity to walk in the middle of the road? Someone would have kicked me to the side of the road long ago. Han Shu laughed at himself. Qin Yu also patted Han Shu's shoulder to comfort him. He also saw that many people on the road were looking at Han Shu with mocking eyes. But when they saw Qin Yu beside Han Shu, they didn't dare to look at Han Shu that way. Times, Senior, this is Junior's home. Amber Moon doesn't have much, but it has a lot of land. This Junior can also be considered a direct descendant, so I was also assigned a small courtyard. Lu Han Shu brought Qin Yu to a small courtyard. Qin Yu stepped into the courtyard. And not bad. Han Shu, I will be staying with you for the time being. You don't have any objections, right? Qin Yu smiled faintly. No objections. Of course I don't have any objections. Han Shu was overjoyed. Qin Yu, this expert, staying with him would only bring him benefits and no harm. I see that there are some problems with your meridians. Come here, let me take a look. Qin Yu sat on a stone bench and beckoned to Han Shu. Han Shu shook his head and said, Senior, this junior's meridians are naturally thin and narrow. Without reaching the immortal level, it is impossible for me to open up my meridians and dantian. In the mortal world, a Dongshu stage expert could definitely help others open up their meridians. It's just that the mortals of the immortal, devil and demon realms, from infancy, were influenced by elemental spiritual energy. Their physique was also different from the mortals. Let me take a look first. Qin Yu extended his hand. Lu Han Shu flew uncontrollably to Qin Yu's side. Qin Yu grabbed Lu Han Shu's arm with one hand. Immediately after, Qin Yu transferred his dark star energy and a trace of life elemental energy into Lu Han Shu's body. The life force came from Lu Xing's tear. The power of the dark star was extremely powerful. Qin Yu had directly ruptured the meridians within Han Shu's body. Such narrow meridians were truly troublesome to expand. It was better to first rupture them and then use the life elemental energy to regenerate them. Qin Yu had no doubts about the efficacy of the life elemental energy. Han Shu's meridians were torn apart. This kind of pain instantly engulfed Han Shu's body. Han Shu forced himself to endure the pain. Your perseverance is not bad, Qin Yu said with a smile. At this time, he controlled the life force to regenerate Han Shu's meridians. Qin Yu controlled the growth of Han Shu's meridians. In a short time, Qin Yu made Han Shu's meridians several times wider than those of ordinary people in the immortal, devil and demon realms. At the same time, they were also very tough. Even the meridians of a Kongming master might not necessarily be as tough as Lu Han Shu's meridians after being nourished by the vitality of life. Han Shu only felt a cool and comfortable feeling in his body. Okay. Qin Yu nodded and said, Han Shu, I will go in to rest first. You can come in when I ask you to. Qin Yu said and directly walked into the empty room. Han Shu looked at his meridians. Dumbfounded. Immediately, his face flushed red with excitement. His body trembled and the muscles on his face twitched. Uncontrollably, tears flowed down his cheeks. Han Shu fell to his knees. Mother, I finally don't have to be looked down upon anymore. I finally don't have to worry about being humiliated on the streets. I can finally straighten my back. Han Shu was so excited that he couldn't control himself. From childhood to adulthood, for more than 20 years, he had always been at the bottom of the social ladder, suffering all kinds of humiliation. But now, Han Shu had undergone the transformation of Qin Yu's life force. His aptitude was definitely a genius among geniuses. Coupled with the middle-grade elemental spirit stones in his hands, he could easily break through to the Jin Dan stage. Times listening to Han Shu's surprised voice outside, that excited and hoarse voice, Qin Yu smiled. This is similar to when I broke through to the Xiantian stage in one fell swoop. Only at that time, when I told my father, he didn't let me go with him to the wilderness. Qin Yu smiled. Qin Yu restrained his emotions. He tried to think about his current situation. Han Shu, come in. Qin Yu guessed that Han Shu's mood should be better, so he called him in. After 20 years of repressed emotions, Han Shu really did have a good time to vent. After venting his frustrations, Han Shu felt much better. He used his inner qi to evaporate his tears, tidied up his appearance and walked into the room. Lu Han Shu thanks Senior for the grace of rebirth. Han Shu knelt down and kowtowed. No need to thank me. To tell you the truth, you can still cultivate. When I was cultivating, I couldn't even cultivate normally. My situation was worse than yours. Looking at you reminds me of the old me. Qin Yu said with a smile. Lu Han Shu was stunned. Worse than him. Senior, this junior beseeches Senior to accept me as your disciple. Han Shu suddenly said. Qin Yu's face stiffened. He looked at Han Shu. This Han Shu is a bit scheming. He knows I have a good impression of him, so he wants me to accept him as my disciple. Qin Yu didn't mind and nodded. Very well, I accept you as my disciple. Disciple greets master. Lu Han Shu was overjoyed. With such a master, his future days would be much better. Han Shu, let me ask you something first. If I want to go to the demon realm from here, what should I do? Qin Yu asked directly. Go to the demon realm? Lu Han Shu frowned for a moment and slowly said. This is a bit troublesome. Disciple only knows the general geographical distribution. The Maple Moon star we live in belongs to the Indigo Bay Starfield's Silver Stream Galaxy. Qin Yu listened carefully. His understanding of the immortal, devil and demon realm was indeed inferior to this new disciple. Indigo Bay Starfield is the border between the immortal and devil realms. As far as I know, the best way to go to the demon realm is to directly enter the hinterland of the immortal realm and then enter the demon realm. Lu Han Shu suddenly frowned. It's just that interstellar travel is the most expensive. Every time you go through a transfer array, you need to spend a lot of elemental spirit stones. At the same time, the ruler of each planet also needs to collect tolls. From here to the demon realm, the amount of elemental spirit stones consumed is a shocking amount. Tolls. Qin Yu was puzzled. Yes, for example, from Maple Moon to the neighboring Blue Mountain star, the transfer array costs 1 low-grade elemental spirit stone. But you have to pay 2 low-grade elemental spirit stones. If you go further, the transfer array costs 3 low-grade elemental spirit stones. You have to pay 6. Han Shu carefully explained. Qin Yu nodded. It seems that this was a way for the ruler of each planet to make money. This is the tolls. Next, there is the map. A detailed interstellar map is very precious. It records the teleportation points of every planet, which teleportation point leads to which teleportation point, which path is the closest, and so on. It also records which planets are dangerous and cannot be entered, and which places in the universe cannot be approached. In short, if you want to travel in the universe, an interstellar map is essential. But let's not talk about the route from here to the demon realm. Even Indigo Bay Starfield's detailed map, our Maple Moon star field only has a few. As for the map from here to the demon realm, Disciple can't think of where to find one. Oh, the immortal emperor must have one. Hearing Han Shu's last sentence, Qin Yu couldn't help but smile. Qin Yu now understood. To go to the demon realm. First, it required an astronomical amount of tolls. Secondly, it required a detailed interstellar map that recorded every transfer point and every dangerous place in the universe. Chapter 316. Travel Expenses. Interstellar Map. Qin Yu said slowly in his heart. To go to the demon realm, Qin Yu was not worried about the travel expenses. He still had a lot of elemental spirit stones. Not to mention, if there was no other way, he could sell a few high-grade immortal tools. When he was in Ni Yang's realm, he took a lot of treasures. The most important thing now was the interstellar map. And according to his disciple, interstellar maps were very rare and precious. Ah, Master, there is another very important thing. Lu Honshu suddenly remembered something and exclaimed. Speak. Qin Yu looked at his disciple. Lu Honshu hurriedly said, Master, I have heard that interstellar maps are not omnipotent. For example, a planet marked on an interstellar map may have a transmission array that leads to a certain place. But maybe by the time Master gets there, the transmission array will be destroyed. Qin Yu's heart shook. Yes, the transmission array could not be forever undamaged. If he got an interstellar map from 1,000,000 years ago, it would be useless. It was hard to say if it would be useful. Also, in the interstellar space, if a star becomes a swallowing zone, the surrounding planets may be swallowed or slowly attracted to it. The transmission array of that planet will not be useful. Lu Honshu carefully thought of all kinds of scenarios for his new master. Qin Yu carefully pondered for a moment and then thought of many things. Everywhere in the universe was slowly changing. An interstellar map could only give a rough idea of the route, and the detailed situation could only be determined when one arrived at the place. Master, I have heard my father say that interstellar travel is only for experts, at least at the golden immortal level. Lu Honshu suddenly whispered. Qin Yu smiled. Honshu, do you think that Master's power is not at the golden immortal level, and you are worried that I will encounter danger during interstellar travel? Lu Honshu hurriedly said, Master, disciple does not doubt Master. It's just that interstellar merchants have appeared on Maple Moon. Every one of them is at least at the golden immortal level. My father was in charge of serving them once. My father was very proud and happy at that time. He went home and told me many things about interstellar merchants. Interstellar merchants? Qin Yu was surprised. Tell me, what is an interstellar merchant? Qin Yu could make some guesses from the words alone, but he wasn't very clear about the essence of the matter. Qin Yu. Lu Honshu's eyes were filled with worship as he said, Interstellar merchants, they are all top experts. There were people from the demon realm, the celestial realm, and the devil realm. In short, interstellar merchants came from various realms. They would buy some precious herbs or ores at a low price from one place and then sell them at a high price in a distant place. The difference between buying and selling is tens or even hundreds of times. Qin Yu immediately understood. Wasn't this similar to the merchants on the hidden dragon continent? It was just that the interstellar merchants had run even further. Because of the dangers in the galaxy and the high cost of travel, it's not a big deal for the interstellar merchants to sell it at such a high price. But interstellar travel is too dangerous. Lu Honshu solemnly said, Teacher, this small planet of ours doesn't have many experts, but in the core planet of our Silver Stream Galaxy, Red Leaf Planet, there are many powerful experts. In the immortal, devil and demon realm, only the strong are respected. If you let others know that you have so many treasures, it's very likely that they will kill you to steal your treasures. Qin Yu nodded and laughed in his heart. It seems that the immortal, devil and demon realm was similar. Most of the interstellar merchants had many treasures. If they didn't have the strength, they would have been killed and robbed long ago. The immortal realm is a bit better. Everyone wants to save face and won't directly attack. They will only attack from the shadows. I heard that the devil and demon realms are even more chaotic. It's very likely that they will rob you directly. Lu Honshu said. Qin Yu laughed in his heart. What didn't this disciple understand? Sometimes, attacking from the shadows is more dangerous than robbing in the open. Qin Yu knew that the majority of what this disciple of his had said was from hearsay. But the truth must be discounted. But Qin Yu could also understand many things from his disciple's words. Honshu, just now on the streets of Lu Feng City, I saw many self-cultivators. Many of them didn't have a solid foundation. Although your strength is low, but your soul is already at the late stage of yuanying. You should go and cultivate for a while and directly absorb the energy from the middle-grade elemental spirit stone to reach the yuanying stage. Qin Yu said aloud. Yes, disciple will take his leave. Lu Honshu immediately left the room. Times, the self-cultivators of the immortal, devil and demon realms are really lucky. The immortal, devil and demon realms are much higher level than the mortal realms. The self-cultivators here not only improve their strength quickly, but also their soul. Qin Yu praised in his heart. A few years old child reaching the Jin Dan stage was very normal here, but in the mortal realms, it was simply unthinkable. Qin Yu threw these messy thoughts out of his mind and carefully thought about his future path. How much will the travel cost be? I need to find an interstellar merchant and ask. Also, I don't need a map of the entire immortal, devil and demon realms for now. A map of the Indigo Bay starfield should be enough. Qin Yu was fully aware of the preciousness of this map. Also, strength. When I open the second layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts, there will be a lot of Demon King level experts. That way, I will have an easier time. Qin Yu wasn't anxious. Suddenly, Qin Yu thought of something and laughed. Haha, as a master, I didn't even give a greeting gift to my disciple. Only at this moment did Qin Yu remember that he was too anxious to ask about the matter of going to the demon realm. Qin Yu now had many treasures on him. In Ni Yang's realm, the worst was a high-grade immortal tool. Giving a high-grade immortal tool to a kid who hasn't even reached the yuanying stage? Qin Yu was worried that his disciple would be killed because of his treasures. I will give my best-grade spirit tool to my disciple. Qin Yu flipped his hand and a long sword, Hei Yuan, appeared in his hand. Hei Yuan was a top-grade spirit tool, but its value lay in its myriad of transformations. Whether it was defense, attack, or a variety of weapons, it could be changed. Its value was no less than a low-grade immortal tool. After removing the blood contract, Qin Yu put away Hei Yuan and prepared to give it to Han Shu when he finished his cultivation. Shuo Yen, bring out a person. Qin Yu said indifferently. Shuo Yen in purple and a middle-aged man in black suddenly appeared in the room. She immediately greeted Qin Yu respectfully. Greetings, Master. Master, this is Zong Yuan, a level 9 demon. His true form is an extremely powerful azure shadow leopard. Whether it is strategy or strength, he is one of the top 10 in the first layer of the Atlas. Shuo Yen respectfully said. Qin Yu nodded. There were more than 200 level 9 demons in the first layer of the Atlas. Moreover, the demon beasts that Ni Yang Immortal Emperor took in were of good quality. At that time, Shuo Yen and the others were of poor quality. They were only comparable to the demon beasts that were sent to the second layer of the Atlas. To be able to rank in the top 10 among so many level 9 demons, their strength was no less than a level 1 golden immortal. Zong Yuan, Shuo Yen. I only know about the existence of interstellar merchants. Interstellar merchants are generally no less powerful than golden immortals. Their servants can't be that strong, right? Qin Yu smiled. Shuo Yen smiled. Master, you can ask Zong Yuan about this. His father used to be an interstellar merchant. Oh. Qin Yu was taken aback. Zong Yuan respectfully said, Master, the reason why interstellar merchants have to be at least golden immortal is not only because of the dangers of the journey, but also because only at this level can they use greater teleportation. When traveling in the interstellar space, if there is a problem with the map and you don't want to turn back, you can only rely on greater teleportation to find a shortcut. Qin Yu finally understood. His disciple had only heard about it from hearsay, but Zong Yuan obviously had the right to speak. Some interstellar merchants are alone, but of course there are also those with servants. The servants are also divided into bodyguards and attendants. The strength of the bodyguards is generally stronger. Of course, if you want to hire a golden immortal bodyguard, you have to spend a lot of money. The attendants are there to serve, so their strength is naturally weaker. Zong Yuan carefully explained. Price, how do you calculate money in the immortal, devil and demon realms? Tell me. Qin Yu immediately said. Shuo Yan smiled and said, My lord, this is simple. 4 immortals, demons, devils and other experts. Low-grade elemental spirit stone is the smallest unit. Generally speaking, $100 is 100 low-grade elemental spirit stone. The exchange rate is 1 top-grade elemental spirit stone equals 100 high-grade elemental spirit stone equals 10,000 mid-grade elemental spirit stone equals 1 million low-grade elemental spirit stone. Elemental spirit essence is the most precious. The exchange rate is 1 top-grade elemental spirit stone equals 100 top-grade elemental spirit stone. Of course, this is only a rough estimate, because elemental spirit essence is too rare, sometimes its value is even higher. Shuo Yan carefully explained. After a careful discussion, Qin Yu learned a lot about the immortal, devil and demon realms. After the discussion, Qin Yu began to meditate and cultivate his soul. Qin Yu was not worried about his cultivation. With the yuanying of 3 level 1 golden immortals, Qin Yu could refine his soul any time. What Qin Yu needed now was to improve his soul. Times, I've finally reached the early stage of yuanying. I've finally reached it. Lu Honshu excitedly walked out of his house and headed towards Qin Yu's house. Stop. A cold voice sounded. Lu Honshu turned his head to look. In the courtyard, there was a man and a woman eating some fruits. These fruits were grown in the first layer of the atlas. Who are you people, and why are you in my house? Lu Honshu was a little unhappy. These 2 people were Shuo Yan and Zhong Yuan. Master is in the middle of cultivating, don't disturb him. Shuo Yan said indifferently. Master is your master. You can rest assured and wait outside. Shuo Yan didn't put a nascent soul stage brat in her eyes. After all, in the Atlas, she was the leader of a large group of level 9 demons. Master. Lu Honshu was shocked. How did his master get 2 subordinates all of a sudden? Moreover, it was so fast. At this moment, in the house, Qin Yu was sitting cross-legged. There was no breath coming from his body, just like a lifeless stone. When his soul reached the essence, Qin Yu knew that the soul was divided into 3 layers: heaven, earth, and human. Only when all 3 of these souls were successfully cultivated could the soul be considered as one. Vast and boundless, misty fog drifted in the endless space. Qin Yu's consciousness was in this space. This was the first layer of the soul, the human soul space. Ever since he obtained the refining of 3 souls technique from the tears of Lu Xing, Qin Yu knew that the soul could also be cultivated, and that it wasn't something that could be done naturally. A wisp of consciousness instantly took on the form of a human. It was Qin Yu. In the first layer of the soul, Qin Yu's hands had to continuously form 36 hand seals according to the refining of 3 souls technique. But for some unknown reason, the more he progressed, the more difficult it became. He couldn't be distracted in the slightest while forming these hand seals. Once he was distracted, he would fail. In addition, Qin Yu could sense that these hand seals were very special. Every time he formed one, he would feel much more comfortable. As Qin Yu formed the hand seals, streams of azure-green energy began to appear from the outside world within the first layer of the soul space. As time passed, more and more streams of azure-green energy were absorbed. Qin Yu formed the 36 hand seals over and over again. Qin Yu didn't feel any boredom at all. Instead, he felt a sort of tranquility in his soul. His entire soul was constantly transforming at an astonishing speed. If Qin Yu could divert some of his attention to observe Lu Xing's tears, he would discover that these streams of azure-green energy were flowing out from the tears of Lu Xing and entering the soul space. Within the soul space, one couldn't sense how much time had passed at all. When Qin Yu felt that he had made a breakthrough, he immediately stopped and woke up. Phew, now my soul realm should be around level 8 immortal. Qin Yu calculated in his mind and realized that he had been cultivating for a full 3 months. If he allowed his soul to passively absorb Lu Xing's tears, he estimated that it would take him 3 years to reach his current level. But with his active cultivation, he succeeded in 3 months. Walking out of the house, Shuo Yan and Zhong Yuan were still in the courtyard. When they saw Qin Yu come out, They quickly stood up. "We pay our respects to Master." Zhang Yuan and Shuo Yan immediately said respectfully. Qin Yu nodded. "That's right, where is my disciple?" That Lu Honshu didn't know how long Master was going to cultivate, so he went out. Shuo Yan immediately replied. Qin Yu nodded. He immediately spread out his immortal sense and covered the entire Lu Feng city. Lu Feng city's population was over 10 million, and there were over 1,000 immortal experts. There were experts from all walks of life, so it was very lively. Qin Yu immediately found his disciple. "I didn't expect that my first disciple in the immortal, devil and demon realms would be bullied like this. Well, since I want to get the interstellar map, I should be a little stronger. This little amber moon, I'll secretly control it first. With people familiar with the environment, things will be much easier." Qin Yu didn't want to drag things out, so he directly carried out his plan. Qin Yu's heart moved, and his whole person disappeared from the courtyard. Qin Yu was the master of Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan. Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan naturally sensed Qin Yu's location and immediately teleported over. The three great clans of Amber Moon had always been in a state of balance, but because of Qin Yu's arrival, a new change had begun. And the source of this change was a small child of the Lu clan, Lu Honshu. Chapter 317. Lu Feng City's streets were crisscrossed. The northern district was filled with Lu family's buildings and palaces. Most of the people here were Lu family members. On a wide street in the northern district, there were hundreds of people watching. Tiske, how rare. That good-for-nothing Lu Honshu actually reached the early stage of yuanying. A middle-aged man said with a smile. Lu Honshu, in my generation, he is the weakest. He can't be compared to nephew Lu Hanming. Hanming is the same age as him, but he has already reached the late Dongshu stage. This Lu Honshu dared to walk in the middle of the street like that. Hanming and the others didn't like this kid and taught him a lesson. Another middle-aged man said with a smile. In the middle of the street, Lu Honshu felt a sweet taste in his throat as blood gushed out. Lu Honshu stared at the young man in white in front of him, his brother Lu Hanming. Lu Honshu, even if you reach the early stage of yuanying, you are still the weakest of our generation. Look, besides you, who else in our generation is at the early stage of yuanying? A young man in white said with a smile. This person was Lu Hanming, the number one of the Lu family's Han generation. He was trained as an elite. Lu Hanming was right. Even if he reached the early stage of yuanying, he was still the weakest of his generation. Eldest young master, don't waste time with this good-for-nothing. Master invited a guest elder to teach you personally. Next to Lu Hanming was a scholarly middle-aged man. Behind them were more than a dozen guards. The scholarly middle-aged man was a level 2 immortal, but he wasn't a member of the Lu family. He was invited by Lu Hanming's grandfather to take care of Lu Hanming. Lu Hanming and Lu Honshu were both direct descendants, but the difference in treatment was too great. Lu Hanming was only 25 years old, but he was already at the late Dongshu stage, only one step away from the Kongming stage. Lu Hanming, one day I will surpass you. Lu Honshu stood up and wiped the blood from his mouth. He stared at Lu Hanming and thought to himself. At this moment, Lu Honshu thought of his master, Qin Yu. Thinking of his master, Honshu was full of confidence. A coward dares to stare at eldest young master? Eldest young master, let's go back. The scholarly middle-aged man said in a clear voice. With a wave of his hand, Honshu, who was blocking the way, was pushed aside. Get lost. The power of a level 2 heavenly immortal was beyond doubt. Suddenly, bang! With Honshu as the epicenter, a terrifying aura spread out. Whether it was the white-robed youth, the scholarly middle-aged man, or even the large group of guards. His entire body was flipped over and fell to the ground. The surrounding onlookers hurriedly retreated to avoid him. When the chi dissipated, the surrounding people discovered that there was a young man dressed in black standing beside Lu Honshu. That fierce and imposing aura made the surrounding people shudder. That was a real master. The black-clothed young man glanced at everyone with a cold gaze. Everyone felt as if they had entered a world of ice and snow, and their hearts were cold. Master. When Honshu saw Qinyu, he couldn't help but be overjoyed. He immediately bowed and shouted. The white-robed youth was slightly startled, but immediately stood up and bowed to Qinyu with a smile. Junior Lu Han Ming pays respect to senior. I didn't expect that my brother Honshu would be able to become senior's disciple. Brother Honshu is really lucky. Qinyu's face was still cold and expressionless. Lu Hanming couldn't help but mutter in his heart. When did Lu Honshu get such a master? This person is too cold. Master. Xue Yan and Zhong Yuan also appeared behind Qinyu. They were very respectful. However, Qinyu's eyes are still coldly looking at Lu Hanming and the others. This makes Lu Hanming and the others worried. Among this group of people, the scholarly middle-aged man with the highest level of power stands out. Junior Tsong Fan, where did senior come from? The scholarly middle-aged man was after all a level 2 heavenly immortal and had some reputation. Qinyu didn't answer. He didn't give the scholarly middle-aged man any face. Lu Hanming, Tsong Fan and the others didn't dare to leave. After all, Qinyu's aura had completely enveloped them. They could definitely be killed in an instant. Speak, who was it that injured my disciple earlier? Qinyu said indifferently. Lu Hanming bowed and said, Senior, Brother Honshu was walking in the middle of the street and was injured by one of my guards. Lu Hanming thought highly of himself and was too lazy to deal with Honshu. Who was it? Qinyu continued. It was me. A guard stood up. This guard was only at the Dongshu stage and belonged to the lower generation in Lu Feng City. The guard said confidently. Lu Honshu's strength is weak, so what if I hurt him? Qinyu glanced at the guard indifferently. Pang! The guard fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. Disrespect to my master, you deserve to die. Zhong Yuan said coldly. Just now, it was Zhong Yuan who attacked. Of course, this Zhong Yuan was under Qinyu's command. The onlookers, including Lu Hanming and the others, were all shocked. Even the most powerful person on the scene, a level 6 heaven immortal senior of the Lu family, didn't see how Zhong Yuan attacked when he fell to the ground. Obviously, Zhong Yuan's strength was far beyond a level 6 immortal. The sound of wind breaking could be heard as dozens of experts arrived in the air. They stood high up in the air and looked down on the ground. They were extremely arrogant. Who dares to behave atrociously in my Lu family? Report dash. The man in the air stopped talking and flew down like lightning. His expression quickly changed into a friendly one. This was a handsome middle-aged man. Great-grandfather. Lu Hanming looked at the middle-aged man and respectfully said. Lu Honshu also respectfully said, Great-grandfather. So this Lu Honshu and Lu Hanming have the same great-grandfather. This humble one is Lu Yunshan. Greetings, senior. I don't know what happened between my two great-grandsons, Hanming and Honshu, that angered senior. Lu Yunshan said with a friendly smile. The level 6 heavenly immortal who had been watching the entire time also walked out. His appearance was very similar to Lu Yunshan's. He also said to Qinyu, Senior, I am Lu Yuntan. Senior is Honshu's master, so naturally we are family. Please forgive Hanming for this matter. The two juniors were merely fighting due to personal feelings. Lu Yuntan transmitted his voice to Lu Yunshan. Yunshan, you were so arrogant when you were in the air just now. If I didn't transmit my voice and offend this guy, my Lu family would have suffered a great loss. Yuntan, this time I owe you a favor. I didn't expect 3 experts to come here at once. I can't see through their strength. Lu Yunshan transmitted his voice. Lu Yuntan and Lu Yunshan were the upper echelons of the Lu family. They were waiting for Qinyu to speak. Qinyu laughed in his heart. He didn't expect that they would be a family now. Han Shu, how do you think we should resolve today's matter? Qin Yu looked at his disciple, Han Shu. Han Shu was startled. Lu Yunshan and Lu Yun Tan both looked at Han Shu. At the same time, Lu Yunshan quickly said, Han Shu, this is just a small matter between you juniors. Don't trouble your master. Alright, Han Shu, you and your father haven't been to my place for a long time. In the future, you should visit more often. Han Shu felt a burst of sadness in his heart. Before today, no one looked up to him. As for his great-grandfather's luxurious palace, he had never been there even once. Most likely, he was chased away by the guards at the entrance. Now, this high and mighty great-grandfather was treating him so well. Master, let's forget about this matter. It's not a big deal, Han Shu said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu nodded and said, since Han Shu said so, I will spare these people's lives. Death can be forgiven, but punishment cannot be forgiven. Zhong Yuan, let these people go back and lie down for 3 months. Senior. Lu Yunshan and Lu Yuntan's eyes widened in disbelief. Lu Hanming and the others were also shocked. Yes, Master. Zhong Yuan respectfully said. A shadow flashed by. In a breath's time, Zhong Yuan stood behind Qin Yu. A giant demon ranked in the top 10 among the 209th level demons. Against a group of level 2 immortals, the rest were ordinary cultivators. It was as easy as blowing off dust. The group of people vomited blood and fell to the ground. Senior, this is a bit too much. Lu Yunshan was a little angry, his aura was rising. Qin Yu coldly glanced at Lu Yunshan. Lu Yunshan felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over him, completely sobering him up. Qin Yu's disciple, no one can bully him. Qin Yu said indifferently, Han Shu, you come back with me. In this Lu family, you are not a member of the Lu family. Why are you so sentimental? Han Shu's heart suddenly recalled the memories of the past 20 years. Those memories made him shudder. Family? Is that even a family? Those brothers mocked him and bullied him. Such a family was better off not having it. Lu Han Shu threw away the burden in his heart. Yes, Master. Lu Han Shu respectfully said to Qin Yu. Although the Lu family was known as one of the 3 great families, they only had one golden immortal expert. The rest were sky immortals. Qin Yu's Atlas of 10,000 Beasts had more than 200 9th-level demons. Wiping out the Lu family was a piece of cake. Let's go. Qin Yu grabbed Han Shu and disappeared from the street. Shuo Yan and Zhong Yuan turned around and sneered at Lu Yunshan and Lu Yuntan. They also disappeared into thin air. Lu Yunshan and Lu Yuntan looked at each other, their brows furrowed. Times this remote courtyard was different from the other luxurious courtyards of the Lu family. However, on this day, a group of people gathered outside this remote courtyard belonging to Lu Han Shu. Master is currently teaching young Master Lu Han Shu. He will not receive any guests for 3 hours. 2 burly men stood at the entrance of the courtyard. These 2 were the level 8 demons Qin Yu summoned from the first layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts, Pai Huan and Pai Fan. One must know that the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts had so many level 9 demons, but this time 2 level 8 demons were summoned. This made Pai Huan and Pai Fan want to prove themselves in front of their master, Qin Yu. They also want to win face for the hundreds of level 8 demons. Outside the manor, the clan leader, the 3 elders, and a guest elder could only exchange a bitter smile. Behind them was a group of guards from the Lu clan. These guards were all elites, and even the weakest among them was a level 1 heavenly immortal. Yun Shan, you said that the person's 2 subordinates were not these 2? Lu family's patriarch Lu Yun Lu asked. Lu Yun Shan nodded and said, I am sure. The 2 subordinates were a woman and a lean man. They were not these 2 burly men. Level 8 demons. The only guest elder who came frowned. If I'm not wrong, these 2 level 8 demons should be fire lions. Their actual attack power is far beyond that of a level 8 demon. Even this old man can at most fight one. The gatekeepers are 2 level 8 sky demons. Lu family's patriarch also felt a wave of pressure. That Qin Yu's subordinates should be stronger. Demon. Sigh, when did such a person come? Lu family's patriarch also had a headache. Because most demons are stronger than immortals of the same level, unless the immortal's cultivation method is special and powerful. Big brother, Qin Yu's 2 subordinates called Qin Yu, Master. If it was a normal relationship, they would only call him Lord. But since they called him Master, the meaning is deeper. Lu Yun Lu said. Lu family's patriarch nodded. How could he not know this point? Generally, only those super-large families that control many planets would specially train experts, and these experts would call someone Master. After a long time, creak, the wooden door swung open. Master says you may enter. One of the 2 level 8 demons said. Also, don't let the guards in. The courtyard is too small to hold them all. Lu family's patriarch laughed. There is one more person who wishes to enter. He is Lu Honshu's father, Lu Nian Su. Let him in. A calm voice came from the courtyard. Lu family's patriarch, 3 elders, a guest elder, and Honshu's father, Lu Nian Su, entered. The 6 of them entered the courtyard. Within the courtyard, Lu Honshu had finally gained full control of the black essence. His body was covered in a handsome battle robe. This was only a part of the black essence, the other part was a flying sword. Qin Yu sat on a stone bench. Shua Yan and Zhang Yuan stood behind him, one on his left and one on his right. Lu Honshu was also by his side. Patriarch, those 2 subordinates are very strong. I can't see through them, but they are at least level 9 demons. As for that Qin Yu, his strength is around level 8 immortal. The guest elder transmitted. After fusing with Lu Xing's tear, Qin Yu's control over his spiritual sense had reached an astonishing level. The guest elder's immortal sense was immediately detected. Oh, his strength is not bad. Qin Yu laughed. At the same time, his spiritual sense was completely retracted into Lu Xing's tear. Not to mention the level 9 immortal guest elder, even a golden immortal expert would not be able to see through Qin Yu's spiritual sense. The guest elder's face changed greatly. Patriarch, this Qin Yu's strength is unfathomable. The guest elder hurriedly said to Lu family's patriarch. The guest elder could not sense Qin Yu's spiritual sense at all, not even the energy within his body. Lu family's patriarch was also angry. The guest elder said level 8 immortal, then unfathomable. Chapter 318. I am the head of the Lu family, Lu Yun Lu. Greetings to Mr. Qin. I wonder what business Mr. Qin has in this little amber moon? If there is anything, please do not hesitate to ask. Here on Amber Moon, my Lu family still has some power. Qin Yu smiled faintly and pointed to the seat opposite him. Sit. The head of the Lu family immediately sat down. Let's talk about my business later. I have accepted a disciple here on Amber Moon. However, I found out that someone dared to humiliate my disciple. And the person who humiliated my disciple seems to be a brother of the same generation. I hope the head of the Lu family can tell me the reason. Qin Yu said slowly. Behind Qin Yu, Shua Yan sneered, Little brat of the Lu clan, wise up a little. If you are obedient, Master will help you and your Lu clan prosper. If you are not happy, your Lu clan will decline. Shua Yan was very clear that Qin Yu only wanted the interstellar map. He didn't care about power or influence. There were many ways to get the interstellar map, and Qin Yu's choice was to ask from these so-called big families. Of course, this was the main event, and it wasn't too late to talk about it later. Humiliate? Where did this come from? The head of the Lu family said with a smile. He pondered for a moment and said, In fact, this was caused by the competition between the younger generation. But I promise, from now on, this kind of thing will never happen again. You promise? Qin Yu smiled faintly. I find it hard to believe your promise. Master, the head of the family's words are very useful. Lu Honshu whispered. Qin Yu couldn't help but laugh. You sinful disciple, I really don't know what to say about you. Lu Honshu was only 25 years old, and hadn't seen much of the world. Today, when he saw the big shots of the Lu family arrive, he felt his whole body was floating. Especially when he heard the head of the family's promise, he was overjoyed. Forget it, since Honshu said so, then let's forget about this matter. Qin Yu said with a smile. The head of the Lu family also smiled. I saw that Honshu's spirit weapon is very amazing. It seems to be able to transform into anything. Such an amazing spiritual weapon was definitely the best among all spiritual weapons. Could it be that Mr. Qin refined it? Qin Yu nodded. He knew that the Lu family head was flattering him, but he naturally had a good impression of this Lu family head. After all, the head of the Lu family was quite sensible and not a reckless person. Family head Lu, didn't you ask me what's the matter? I do have a rather important matter to trouble you, family head Lu. Of course. I can give you a sufficient reward. Qin Yu said. The Lu family head hurriedly said, Don't talk about rewards. As long as I can help, I will. No, I won't help you. I will always owe you a favor in my heart. I don't like to owe people favors. Qin Yu shook his head. All right then. Since Mr. Qin doesn't like to owe people favors. The Lu family head's eyes lit up. I do have a small request. I hope Mr. Qin can be the Lu family's guest elder. Guest elder? Qin Yu raised his eyebrows. I'm very busy. The Lu family head hurriedly said, It's just in name, just in name. If there's anything, Mr. Qin, if you happen to be free, please help out a little. We definitely won't bother you. If that's the case. Qin Yu pondered for a moment. The Lu family head, the three elders behind him, and the guest elder all looked at Qin Yu. All right, I agree. Qin Yu nodded. That's great. This is the gift for the Lu family's guest elder. It's the same for every guest elder. Please accept it. With that, a pile of things appeared in front of the Lu family head. Taking a closer look, a token, a sparkling pearl, and 10 high-grade elemental holy stones. This token is the symbol of the Lu family's guest elder. With this token, everyone in the Lu family must greet you. This pearl is a communication spiritual pearl. Although it's not too expensive, it's still a bit difficult to buy. These 10 high-grade elemental holy stones are also for Mr. Qin's cultivation. The Lu family head said with a smile. Qin Yu's eyes lit up. He smiled and said, That's quite generous. Qin Yu didn't care about high-grade elemental holy stones. He had never counted how many high-grade elemental holy stones there were in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. But Qin Yu knew that there were a lot. At least over 1,000. Communication spiritual pearl. This was what Qin Yu coveted the most. Communication talismans have a limited range. Of course, it's enough if you're on the same planet. Even if you're on 2 planets close to each other, you can barely use it. But if you're on 2 planets far away, you can't use it. In the immortal, devil and demon realm, you have to communicate frequently. Communication talismans are almost useless. What's useful is the communication spiritual pearl. The range of the communication spiritual pearl can cover 1 to 2 star fields. If one wanted to contact the immortal realm and the demon realm, they would need to go to a fixed transmission array and then use the transmission spiritual bead to communicate. Because in the array, the communication spiritual pearl can send messages very far away. It can reach most places in the immortal, devil and demon realm. It's just that the communication array is very troublesome to set up. Qin Yu is currently missing a communication spiritual pearl. Since Lu family head is so kind, I'll accept. Qin Yu accepted all 3 items. Now, Mr. Qin, you can tell us what you want. The Lu family's guest elder's business is the Lu family's business. As long as you say it, the Lu family will try our best to help, the Lu family head said immediately. Qin Yu smiled. Actually, my sex elders want to go to the demon realm. But they don't have a map of the demon realm. I don't know if Lu family head can help them get a detailed map of the demon realm? Qin Yu inquired. Hearing about going to the demon realm, Lu family head frowned. When he saw Qin Yu's subordinates, he knew that Qin Yu must be related to the demon realm. Since his sex elders want to go to the demon realm, it's not strange. This interstellar map. Lu family head pondered for a moment and said seriously, Mr. Qin, to tell you the truth, interstellar maps are very rare and very precious. Because those maps can only be memorized by merchants who are constantly on the move. And every merchant will memorize a path that suits them. It's not very complete. So to form an interstellar map is very difficult. Qin Yu of course understood this point. When the mortals of the Qianlong continent explored the wilderness, those maps were also very precious. Compared to the wilderness, the immortal, devil and demon realms' boundless interstellar space was much more difficult to explore. My Lu family has a complete map of the Indigo Bay star field. There are a total of 10 galaxies in the Indigo Bay star field. Each galaxy has thousands of inhabited planets. Do you know how much a map of the Indigo Bay star field costs outside? Lu family head asked Qin Yu. Qin Yu smiled and said, I don't know about this. 1 million, and it's still priceless. Lu family head said with certainty. Qin Yu understood that the 1 million referred to 1 million low-grade elemental holy ore, which is equivalent to 100 high-grade elemental holy ore. It's indeed a very high price. Oh, priceless? What's going on? Qin Yu asked. Lu family head didn't know if Qin Yu was deliberately asking this or playing with him. But Lu family head still explained, do you still need to think about this point? In the interstellar map is the most important. A complete map represents wealth. With a complete map, you can easily move through the interstellar map and earn a lot of money. The Lu family was lucky enough to get this map a few thousand years ago. Of the 3 big families on Amber Moon, only the Yen family has a copy. Even the Wang family doesn't have a complete map of the Indigo Bay system, the leader of the Lu family said with certainty. Qin Yu heard the Lu family head talking about the importance of the interstellar map. He naturally understood that the Lu family head wanted him to be more grateful for the map. Lu family head, I'm asking for a map from here to the demon realm. It's more or less a map of the immortal, devil and demon realm. Of course, having a map of the Indigo Bay starfield is also good. With a map of the Indigo Bay starfield, he can easily travel through the Indigo Bay starfield without fear of getting lost in the boundless universe. Relying on the map of the Indigo Bay starfield, he can go to places with a lot of experts, planets where big powers gather, for example, planets where immortal emperors live. It's not impossible to get a map of the immortal, devil and demon realm. Mr. Qin, this interstellar map has always been under the control of the great elder of the Qin family. It would be difficult for me to help you create a copy. Lu family head said in distress. Qin Yu says with an indifferent smile, as long as Clan Master Lu helps me, I'll definitely remember this favor. Lu family head pondered for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, fine, I'll go back and try to persuade the great elder. Patriarch Lu, could it be that your power in the Lu clan is still inferior to that of the Grand Elder? Qin Yu asked. Lu family head laughed. Mr. Qin, you don't know this. My Lu family has dozens of elders and 7 or 8 guests. Dozens of elders all listen to the great elder's orders. The same goes for the guests. Do you think the great elder's power is great? Qin Yu understood. Lu family head, aren't you jealous? Qin Yu continued. Jealous? Why would I be jealous? He is the previous family head, and also my grandfather. Why would I be jealous? Lu family head laughed and said, moreover, my grandfather is the #1 expert of the Lu family. It's only right that he has such power. Qin Yu nodded. Fine, that's all for today. When Lu family head has news of the Indigo Bay starfield map, we'll talk again. Fine, Then I'll take my leave. The head of the Lu clan stood up and said. Then, the head of the Lu clan left with the group of people. Interstellar map, it's really difficult to get. Qin Yu shook his head and smiled. My strength is still a bit weak. My soul realm is not high enough. Wait until I refine a level 1 Golden Immortals Yuanying, then I'll be able to open the second layer of the Atlas. Atlas of 10,000 Beasts second layer. There was a large group of demon kings inside. If he released a few hundred of them, Qin Yu would have a much easier time. After all, the only thing that surpassed the Golden Immortal level was the Sword Immortal Puppet, and the Sword Immortal Puppet required the energy of the highest grade elemental spirit stones. I'm going to cultivate. When the Lu family head arrives, Shua Yen, inform me through your thoughts. Don't disturb me during other times. Qin Yu said and went straight to his room. Yes, Master. Shua Yen and Zhang Yuan bowed and complied. Lu Honshu and his father, Lu Niansu, entered the house and began to talk. Lu Niansu had lived a life of servitude for the past few decades. Whenever he saw someone, he had to bow. Now, relying on his son, he could finally straighten his back. Inside the first layer of the soul realm, in a vast expanse of chaos, Qin Yu sat cross-legged in the void. His hands slowly formed one seal after another. Each seal contained a great power. His entire soul was constantly evolving as he absorbed the energy of Lu Xing's tears. As Qin Yu continued to train, the days continued to move forward. 10 days later. In the courtyard, there were two people. One was an old man with a green beard, and the other was the Lu family head. Lu family head, please wait a moment. Shua Yen said and immediately called for Qin Yu through her thoughts. After a moment, the door to Qin Yu's room opened. Qin Yu walked out with a smile. Mr. Qin, let me introduce you. This is the Lu family head elder. Lu family head hurriedly said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu's eyes swept over the Lu family head elder. The Lu family head elder gave Qin Yu an ordinary feeling. Golden Immortal. I estimate his strength is not much different from Sword Immortal Huayan. Just from the aura, Qin Yu could tell. I am Lu family head Lu Minghan. Mr. Qin's cultivation is profound. Lu Minghan found that he could not sense Qin Yu's aura. Whether it was the aura of the soul or the energy within the body, Qin Yu's soul power was completely absorbed into Lu Xing's tears. His own energy was condensed into a small dark red bead called the Dark Star. Lu Minghan could not sense it. Mr. Lu's cultivation is also very high. I wonder if the matter I asked of Lu family head was resolved? Qin Yu asked. Lu family head looked at Lu Minghan. Lu Minghan smiled and said, Mr. Qin, the interstellar map of Indigo Bay Starfield is very precious. Not only are there teleportation arrays to the most common inhabited planets, but there are also teleportation arrays to some uninhabited planets. There are also teleportation arrays to some special places. At the same time, it also explains some special things about the teleportation arrays on the planets. For example, the teleportation arrays on some planets can only be entered but not exited. Can only be entered but not exited? Qin Yu was surprised. Yes, the teleportation array. You can only enter the planet, but when you exit, you have to rely on your own ability. Lu Minghan explained in detail. In short, there is a lot of complicated information. After all, interstellar travel is not a simple matter. Qin Yu now understood that his understanding of the interstellar map was still too little. No wonder the interstellar map was so valuable. Mr. Qin, this is a copy of the interstellar map of my Lu family. This map was obtained thousands of years ago. According to my estimation, this map was drawn up about 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, the major planets should not have changed much. Lu Minghan handed a jade slip to Qin Yu. Drawn up 10,000 years ago? Qin Yu also knew from Zhang Yuan that an interstellar map drawn up hundreds of thousands of years ago was very valuable, not to mention a map drawn up 10,000 years ago. Qin Yu did not hesitate and directly took the jade slip. He scanned it with his immortal sense and stored it in his blazing profound ring. Mr. Lu family head, for the two of you to give this interstellar map to me, I, Qin Yu, owe you a favor. I don't know if there is anything I can help you with, but as long as it is within my ability, I, Qin Yu, will not refuse. Qin Yu understood in his heart. How could such a huge interstellar map be given to him without a request? You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.